Detroit, and you know what that means. Detroit media icon Ryan Ermanni, University of Michigan great Braylon Edwards, and of course, Maz are about to take over on Woodward Sports. Every day, 2 to 4 p.m., it's the best Detroit sports talk on Detroit's best sports network, Woodward Sports.
Good afternoon, everybody. Braylon Edwards here. Ermanni Edwards with Maz. Ryan Ermanni won't be with us. Anson, our good friend, will be here today. How you doing, buddy?
I'm fantastic. The sun is back out, and I just love being here at Woodward.
Well, the best person on this show is and for always will be Tom Mazaway. Tom, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, Ray. Thanks for that. Hey, Anson. Welcome in. We got Stick today.
Stick on the ones.
Jared Goff, fan club president, and we're looking to have some fun today.
I'm looking to have some fun, too. Look, let's, by the way, Pete. In the booth, my right hand. Without Pete, we wouldn't be able to do the show. Appreciate you, Pete. How you feeling?
Doing all right, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing great, man.
Good,
Look,
buddy.
Let's not sugarcoat it. Let's not dance around it. Jared Goff finally gets the deal. He gets a deal to the tune of $212 over 4 years. That makes it $53 million a year. Goff now goes from former number 1 overall pick to the highest paid Lion in franchise history and the second highest paid quarterback in the NFL. And these are the details per Albert Breer of the Lions contract with Jared Goff. The 4-year, $212 million extension. Rates like this: $73 million in signing bonus, $125 million over the first 2 years, $165 million over the first 3 years, $57 million in 2028, which is an option year. So
he won't get that.
100%. Well, you know what, Maz? I'll start off with you. Jared Goff, $53 million a year. We talked about this last week. I said it would be to the tune of 51 or more. Where are you at with the deal? Are you happy, yay or nay?
I'm happy that he got his deal done. I'm happy because the Lions are ready to win right now. That's their quarterback. He's taken them this far. Let him finish it up. Let him win a Super Bowl, and then we'll go from there. The way I look at it, it's to me, it's 4 years, $170 million. That's his guaranteed money. And like you said, he got, $75 million up front?
Yeah.
That's a pretty nice check to get. Him and Kristen Harper will have they could spend a lot of money here at Birmingham Roast, and Lady Jane's here in Birmingham. We'll welcome them in anytime they want. So I'm looking at it. So it's, to me, it's $43 million, $42.5 million a year. If you're looking at 4 years, $170 million guaranteed. That's all the Lions are on the hook for. And God willing, if he wins a Super Bowl or two, he could sign for the rest of his life, as far as I'm concerned. But they drafted a guy in Hendon Hooker, and he looks like he's going to be a backup quarterback for now.
Before we get to Anson Wells, who I know he's chomping off at the bit, and by the way, talk in the chat. What do you guys think? Do you guys disagree? Do you not disagree? We'll bring some of those comments in and maybe even take some calls in the second hour of the show. Want to get your thoughts on the contract. Like you said, the president of the Jared Goff fan base is my man Sam Day, a.k.a. Stick. Stick, where are you at with the deal and why, as a Lions fan and also as a person in the media?
You know, I was telling you before the show, I didn't think I'd be this excited when he got signed.
Why are you this excited?
For multiple reasons, man. Because I'm a lifetime Lions fan. Because this man took us from the depths of hell to winning 2 playoff games in 1 year. He did something I've never seen in my lifetime. He's revitalized this city. The whole crowd's chanting for him. Amon-Ra St. Brown comes out at the draft chanting Jared Goff. The Panay Sewell's happy for him. Taylor Decker tweets about him. We've never had this in a Lions uniform. Barry was a superstar. We know that, right? But he wasn't a galvanizing guy. The team didn't, he was a personal guy.
Gotcha.
Calvin, greatest wide receiver of all time. But we know Calvin, he's more of a soft-spoken leader. Yeah. Stafford, when he was here, he was supposed to be the leader. Never got as fired up as I wanted him to do in post-games. Never the accountability that I needed out of my guy. And then we get a guy like Jared Goff, man. Everybody's doubted him. They threw him away. He's been to a Super Bowl, number 1 overall pick. He's only had 2 losing seasons in his entire life. The first season with the Rams,
and that arguably
first
was
season
the
with the
worst
Lions.
Coaching staff in the history of the NFL.
But the first, so every time Jared Goff goes to a franchise, they get better. We can say that now because it's happened at 2 franchises. So just the more I think about it, and you know, personally, I've been on the Jared Goff bandwagon for 3 years. So it's nice to do this to the Easies of the world and all the other people that really, really just didn't understand what they were witnessing when you saw a guy that can lead men. the intangibles, which the Flannel Sams of the world will never understand because it doesn't show up on paperwork. And, I'm not saying he's Tom Brady, right?
Yeah.
But the intangibles are Brady-esque.
100%. And Fox 2, we appreciate, we apologize for that. Somebody in the chat just said something, and I'm going to get you going. Because obviously, the negative comments are what's going to fuel Anson Wells. The comments about why he didn't deserve this money are going to fuel you. Somebody said Matt Stafford never had pieces around him like Jared Goff.
What? A Hall of Fame wide receiver in the number 2 defense in the league, and you couldn't win a game.
There we go. There we go. And I agree with that.
I'm not going to sit in this booth and do this all day.
No, I love it.
Yeah,
and you might want to sit in here all day, but I agree with that. Anson, thoughts on that, and then thoughts on Jared Goff's deal.
Well, he's in the booth, but he's certainly not silent stick on this topic.
No.
I know that. Why do you wear that shirt, by the way?
Is that a Dave & Buster shirt?
Because this is the Liberation of America shirt.
No,
This is
show
my
it
4th
says
of July.
America.
It says America on it.
And you chose that to wear today, right?
Because this is, we just won the Revolutionary War. The brand new Lions are here. We've gotten through the British. We've gotten through everybody we needed to. And here we are. I was saving this for Independence Day, but it feels like my independence. I am free from the old Lions BS. Free. Free at last.
Looks like we finally beat General Cornwallis. What say you, Anson Wells?
Well, Stick is all in today. He even brought something with him. This is, we're not going to say it, but these are from Jared Goff himself because he's been riding them for years, and rightfully so.
There we go.
If you're a Lions fan and you've lived through the absolute void of quality quarterbacks in this town, what are you thinking if you are against this? Who are you going to go sign? Who are you going to draft?
Yeah.
I mean, this guy has 2 top 5 back-to-back offenses in the NFL. Thrown to who? 2022 to Amon-Ra St. Brown. DJ doesn't have a job. Chark and Khalif the Leaf Raymond. Who was he throwing to last year? This team going forward, aside from Decker and aside from Montgomery, have everyone locked in for 3 years of absolute excellence. If you're against this deal, call us. Tell us why. Tell us about how he can't put it down the field. And I'll show you some of the biggest and longest air completions in the NFL were made by this man. I'll show Yak, and you want to blame it all on Amon-Ra St. Brown? Well, you better get it into his hands in the right spot so he can turn it into Yak. But in the top 32 Yak receivers in the NFL, we have one. 632 yards by Amon-Ra St. Brown. You want to take 1,000 yards off this guy's total because of Yak? You better understand that Yak came from his placement. You got guys like Cutler and Stafford who can throw the ball downfield, but they can't throw it to the flat without taking 25 miles per hour off of it. I'm telling you, this is the guy for the system. And I'm sorry to Mr. Stanley Edwards, Braylon's father. If anybody puts Herbert on a list ahead of him one more time, I'm going to lose it. Don't put him behind Stafford either. Stafford might have a Hall of Fame body of work and he might be better long term, but I don't want him here. This is the top 7 quarterback in the league. He might not be able to run, but what has Hurts? What have everybody that's a mobile quarterback done aside from Pat Mahomes? Not win games. How many playoff wins does Justin Herbert, your boy, have?
What do you mean, my boy? You said Stan Edwards. That's my father. That's not me.
No, but you like Herbert better than Goff. We went over this a couple weeks ago.
We did.
And you still like him better?
Said he has more potential.
More potential. Okay, that's fair.
At the end of the day, thank you for bearing the lead about my father.
I'm mad about it. I love Jared Goff, baby. Let's go.
That's fine. Everybody loves Jared Goff today, and I understand that as they should. He won 2 playoff games, the first in the modern era, Super Bowl era for the Detroit Lions. I have no problem with the deal. I myself said it would be a 51-plus deal because it's about the market. It's about the going rate. 2017, Matt Stafford signed a contract. Highest paid quarterback in the NFL. What happened by 2 weeks later? He was now the 5th highest paid quarterback.
2 days later.
2 days later. That's what's going to happen in this one. Tua has to get paid. Trevor Lawrence has to get paid. There are other people that are going to get paid, so I don't mind the deal. You asked me about Justin Herbert or Jared Goff. Well, yes, I would take Justin Herbert over Jared Goff. Would I take Justin Herbert in this system? No. This is a system that is designed for the success of Jared Goff. Just like any other system where you have winners, an offensive coordinator and a head coach. they designed the system around the quarterback, and that's what you have. Jalen Hurts 2 years ago, you saw what Shane Steichen did with that situation. Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Josh Allen, and Joe. You name the quarterback, I'll tell you the offensive coordinator that's putting the system together. Sean McVay and Super Bowl champion Matt Stafford. So, no, I would take Jared Goff over Herbert in this system. Justin Herbert over Jared Goff as a potential and as skills. But we're not talking about Justin Herbert. We're talking about Jared Goff. Tom, my dad said something else that was interesting.
I loved what Stan said.
He said that Tom Brady would have taken a deal. He said Patrick Mahomes took a deal after they won the Super Bowl for less money. What are your thoughts on that? Jared Goff taking $53 million a year when they can use that money elsewhere.
They obviously had the money slotted for their guys, Bray, and they
extra
spent
$30 million on the cap this year, correct?
Yep, they got hit bad on this one. But on the big three, Penei Sewell, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Jared Goff, they have spent $44 million.
Yeah,
$44 million on those guys. That's a lot of cash on those guys.
It's a lot of cash, Maz, but when you look at it, every team has three guys that they pay.
You mean 440?
That's what I meant.
Okay.
440 million. My bad.
Every team has that in terms of where you're paying guys because those guys are the catalyst for what you do. You look at the Kansas City Chiefs, and we use them as the example because they're Super Bowl champs back-to-back years in a row. They pay Travis Kelce, they pay Jared Goff, they pay Chris Jones, and then they pay the left tackle. You got to pay to play. When you finish in the top four like the Lions did, you pay those players that got you there, and so you can continue to get there.
Back in the day when the Lions had their other big three, Matthew Stafford, Calvin Johnson, and Ndamukong Suh, the NFL changed the way you could pay your players. So the Lions had to make a tough decision.
And that's why
we got to keep two of them.
Right.
And that's why Ndamukong Suh was crying at the podium. Although a lot of people say he wanted to get out of here, I kind of think that he finally realized, hey, if I stay here, this team could be a Super Bowl team. When they got that stolen away, they got that stolen away in Dallas, 2014. They could not pay all three. They decided to let Sue go, and down the tubes they went after that. This time they were allowed to pay their big three. It's different. It's a different way to play poker now in the NFL. What Tom Brady did in his career, and I've never been a Brady guy, as you know, and this is what Stanley Edwards brings up. Tom Brady always took less so the rest of the team could get taken care of. And it paid off. Sure, he had one of the greatest coaches of all time and 7 or 8 Super Bowl rings, any way you want to catch it. Could have won a couple of more even, of course, if Eli wasn't there. But nonetheless, what Stanley Edwards has said, if you really want to look after your team, you take less and you get more maybe down the line. The Lions and him hopefully made some kind of deal here where he's going to get either front-loaded or a back-loaded deal here because the cap is real, like Neil Rule always says. The cap is real, and there's only so far you can go before you start losing the little pieces on your team that have kept you around. And that's a lot of money. But like I said, it's 4 years, $170 million, so about $42.5 million a year guaranteed. That's what Stanley Edwards was saying. Tom Brady took less and won more.
I'm going to go ahead and throw you a double pause for that comment. I got your back. Don't worry.
Thank you.
This is what I also said to my dad. Throw one more up there for me. There you go. There's the double for it. That front and back, that conversation needed that. What I tried to tell my dad is that, or in discussion, the way they're doing it here is very different than the way they did it in New England. The way they did it in New England was free agency. Free agency moves, trades, things like that. So you take less money so that you can add those pieces here or there. Brad Holmes is drafting these players. Brad Holmes also isn't breaking the bank in free agency. So you can also pay a Jared Goff this. You can pay a Amon-Ra this. You can pay Penei Sewell this and still have some money because we understand who's going to come up next year, and that'll be Aiden Hutchinson. So I think the way Brad Holmes does it is different. And also I think this is just another stamp in terms of, hey, if you perform for us, we will take care of you. Jared Goff has definitely indeed performed his time here with the Detroit Lions, Anson.
And my only question is, I was in here a year ago this time with the heavyweights saying that we should have locked him up and extended him for $45 million.
Yeah.
Hindsight's always 20/20. Not only did the franchise, Dan and Brad, but also the rest of us fans, the city of Detroit needed last year to fully buy into.
Yeah.
If they would have signed him at $45 million, there'd probably be more people complaining than right now. This is a guy, like you said, won two games in the playoffs, which only one guy's been able to do in the last 75 years. So, again, NFL stands for not for
Bobby
long. Nothing indicates failure than change, and this team haven't experienced any change. They've just gotten better this offseason.
Yeah, 100% Stick. I know you wanted to say something.
Well, I just wanted to talk to Maz and about what
Talk to Maz in.
talking about taking a discount. I think what people are missing
Let me go
now,
to the phone call. Stick is here in Birmingham. Stick, first time, long time. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, I'd like to address Maz. So two things about this.
You two are
One,
funny.
the salary cap is going to evolve. It's going to get bigger.
Yeah.
There are 6 more high-profile quarterbacks that are about to be signed this year. So by the time Jared Goff takes a snap in this 2024 football season, he's most likely going to be about the 7th or 8th highest paid quarterback.
Higher than that.
No. Okay, we can disagree.
That's fine.
Second of all, how's Patrick Mahomes doing, Maz?
He's pretty good.
Is he back-to-back Super Bowl champs?
He is.
Did he give his team a discount?
He did.
He did.
He didn't at first.
He didn't at first.
He did this offseason.
He kind of
restructured.
he restructured.
But at first, did he give him a discount?
So he
Something
took
that Goff
$50
can
million.
do in 2 years.
Exactly.
He was the first guy to take $500
so holding
million.
everybody to the Brady standard, you're going to catch yourself in a lot of precarious situations.
But there's only one Brady, right?
That's right.
Yeah, and you don't like him. So
No, I do now.
You do now. Okay.
After
It was a roast. It was
After
a
the
roast.
roast.
But that's
Hold
all.
on.
That's all I'm saying.
Side note, quick pivot. Did you see Tom Brady when they were announced with Michael Strahan?
I did.
Did you see he's still in roast form? He roasted
is.
Dak Prescott.
He's stuck
Oh,
that.
nice.
Like
He's stuck that.
Tom is going to be great on TV, I think. 'Cause
I've been roasting
Oh, yeah,
easy all
he
day,
is.
and it's been a lot of fun.
I think they're going to let him. Tom's like Tom. Tom is invincible in his mind and in real life, so I think he'll be able to say a lot more on
Yes.
air
Yeah.
than certain people,
Yes.
and it's like nothing you'll be able to do about it. But
They
getting back on
announced
No
his-
handcuffs,
they announced
man,
his
you
first
know?
game. They announced the first game that
yeah,
he's going to
it's
be calling.
Dallas Cowboys and
Cleveland.
The Cleveland Browns.
Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
He
At
said
Dallas.
he said hopefully Dak can finally get it done. That was his shot.
Yeah.
But
Dak's going to get $60 million a year, and y'all
No,
are
you know
gonna
what?
feel real stupid about
Talk
this
about a
golf
guy that
complaint.
doesn't deserve that kind of
he's
contract.
what did he make 59 last year?
Yeah, ain't gonna make
Dak
60.
Prescott? Or
He did have the
59 this
best
year?
statistics of any quarterback in the league last year.
You-
I'm not a believer, but
Here's my issue with statistics. Is because of fantasy football, statistics are becoming more and more overblown. Like, who cares about these fantasy football quarterbacks that are doing it in the regular season, then they disappear in the playoffs? Like, where the hell has Dak Prescott been his whole playoff career? With the exception of the very first playoff you ever were part of. When he almost came back and beat Green Bay, when he got the first win, I forgot who they played against. Where's he been? Like Josh Allen, my dad had Josh Allen on. Look, Josh Allen, you want to go skills and potential and all that stuff, then fine. But what has Josh done in the playoffs? He was in the AFC Championship 5 years ago. Last year he lost in the first round. The year before that he lost in the first round. The year before that he was 2 rounds. So you list these quarterbacks, Trevor Lawrence, 1 playoff win. I said, what about Kirk Cousins? Kirk Cousins has gotten, well, he's the outlier. 1 playoff win. Like, when you go down the list of these quarterbacks, whether it's
and that playoff win
Lamar Jackson
shouldn't even have happened against the Saints.
Lamar Jackson, I love Lamar Jackson. Not back to back, but 2-time MVP, deservingly so. Everything he does in the regular season, phenomenal. When you get to the playoffs, it's a different guy. And yes, he necessarily did not have the pieces, but you can only continue to use that excuse for so long. So when I look at it that way, he deserves his money 100%. And you also know, like Maz said, look at 170, not 212, because there's no way in heck he's making it to that 4th year. I promise you that.
Well, you look at the guys that have won it, with the exception of Pat Mahomes and some, mobility out of Rodgers. You go down the list, Brady,
There's no mobile quarterbacks that win the
Breeze,
Super Bowl.
Manning. No, when I define Jared Goff as resilient composure, Stick talked about it. This is a guy that's improved 2 different teams, but has also been thrown out with the baby water. And this guy has been written off, but he's still performed. He's improved. And being in a town where everybody is ready to kick out a quarterback, in a town that had never seen any playoff success, this guy has stepped up at big moments, taken this team places that no Detroit fan could ever really just fantasize about being. This is not only the perfect quarterback for this system, I think he's the perfect quarterback for this city.
Yeah, 100%. And also look, too, I hear people bring up the Miggy comparison. Miggy got paid, at 30, was 32, 33 after the MVP season or the Triple Crown.
And then he went.
But understandably so, in baseball, he had way more years on him than Jared Goff has on him. Jared Goff is entering year 9 or year 10. He's 29 years old.
Yeah.
Like, he's still in his prime, and he finally has an offensive coordinator who understands him, and he's gotten better and better. He's made some players better. You say what you want to. Josh Reynolds, Jared Goff made him a better player.
Yep.
What did Josh Reynolds do when he was at the Tennessee Titans?
He'd be out of the football if he wasn't aligned the last 2 years.
So, looking at it that way, it's not broken down Miggy where you saw it was breaking down and you're paying him for what he did with the Marlins and then you're paying him for what he did the Triple Crown year, but you also saw it was starting to go this way. That's not the same with Jared Goff. And once again, I repeat, look at any system, any team, it's fit for a quarterback. You look at Brock Purdy. You don't think Brock Purdy's having success because of how Kyle Shanahan runs
What
that
are they going to
system?
pay him?
That's an interesting one.
Yeah. Mr. Irrelevant
That's
is going
an
to get
interesting
paid.
one.
He might get $50 million a year. Brock Purdy.
And you know what? Right, once again, here you go. How many NFC championships has he been to?
A couple.
2 in 2 seasons.
Yep.
It's like every quarterback has to have that guy that can structure a system around them. There's no running back anymore that's rushing for 2,000 yards or 1,800 that can help you out tremendously. It falls on the quarterback in these systems. That's why you got a systematic guy for Ben Johnson's Detroit Lions system.
That's why they have the offensive line, because that's the whole team.
Yeah.
Penei Sewell and the offensive line. That's the thing that protects Jared Goff. As long as you have that line, Jared Goff's a top 10 quarterback, top 8 quarterback.
Yeah.
And he is now entering his peak years. He is entering his peak years. So you got him. This is the time you got to win now. You got to win. Put Jared Goff's plastic baggie up there because he's got to win now.
Now is the time. Also, now is the time to take a quick commercial break. We're going to keep coming right back to this Jared Goff contract. Do you agree? Do you disagree? There it is. That's the number, and that's the guy. Dollar bills, y'all. But first, let's get a message from Les Stanford. What happens when you run a great business for over 50 years? You expand and you offer more products to the people. That same great service that customers have come to know and trust on Woodward, just south of 9 Mile now, Les Stanford, Buick, and GMC. Don't forget Dearborn and also LesStanford.com. LesStanford.com. Together, let's drive.
One of 13 locations for the best pet store in Michigan. It's PremierPetSupply.com. 13 Metro Detroit locations, family owned and operated for over 30 years. We met Mike Palmer yesterday. Fantastic guy, great family, over 60 brands of food. You know it. And they've got curbside delivery. It's the lowest prices available as well. They've got you covered. They got nutritionists on call for any of your questions. And you heard Mike yesterday. They have everything overstocked and ready for you to take care of your pet. Don't settle for less. Give your pet the best. It's PremierPetSupply.com.
Thank you to the Detroit Lions and Sheila Hamp for the best season in Lions history. Now it's time to let Brad Holmes cook. Woodward Sports.
To any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit Sports.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles, and with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at LesStanford.com today.
You smell that? That's Brad Holmes cooking. And the off-season smells good. Woodward Sports.
Hey guys, awesome is when a guy can be a guy and get an amazing haircut. That's Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Stop in, sit back, and relax. Let one of Lady Jane's talented stylists make you look and feel great. Walk in anytime, 7 days a week. Lady Jane's, you know it. It's wicked awesome.
It is wicked awesome, and what else is wicked awesome is the contract of Jared Goff. If you didn't hear the first segment, 4 years, or if you're behind under a rock, because it did come out yesterday, 4 years, $212 million. The breakdown is on the screen yet again. Pete, appreciate you on that. This is a great thing. I think this is a great thing. I want to go back to the fact that this also shows if you perform, you will be taken care of. And we understand what's going to happen at the back end of the contract, but he performed for the Detroit Lions. You look at year 1 through 13-1, he was throwing the ball to Quintez Cephas, who I thought was a decent wide receiver coming out of Wisconsin. But Quintez Cephas was our star wide receiver until Amon-Ra started taking over, until Josh Reynolds came in week 13 or so. Then you look at the second year, 9-8, they almost sneak into the playoff. Jared Goff finished top 5 in offensive statistics for the quarterback position. And then we all saw what happened last year. So this is the going rate. This is what you do when you hey, you come here, you perform, you turn up, we'll pay you. Also now, if I'm a player on the team, if I'm a guy on one of these 1-year deals, if I'm a Carlton Davis type guy, if I'm one of these guys, is okay, this is what they're doing. If you perform for the Detroit Lions, Brad Holmes will bring you in because any guy that he brings in, whether it's a draft pick or whether it's a free agent, seems to be a hand-picked guy by Brad Holmes.
Not a question about it. You know they love drafting rather than getting a free agents. But basically, they gave up 2 third-round picks to get their cornerbacks of the future, and that's Carlton Davis and, of course, their number 1 draft pick, Terry and Arnold from Alabama. Those were the 2 picks that they gave away to get their future defensive backs. And, you know, it's a completely different secondary now that they have, and it's going to be a fantastic thing. That was what dragged them down last year. Now you got Aiden Hutchinson and the rest of those guys can attack the quarterback a little easier, knowing that you're covered in the backfield. So hats off to what the Lions have done. They are almost, I say, a perfect roster.
What do you think would make them a perfect roster, man?
Another receiver.
Another receiver.
Yep, and a kicker.
And I think we've talked about this. Brad Holmes said it. He, as well as Ben Johnson, are very comfortable with the wide receiver group. They like Donovan Peoples-Jones and what he can potentially bring to the table. They like this is Jameson Winston's breakout year, and you know what you're getting out of number 14. No need to bring him up. But something else people don't think about when you think of the wide receiver position, Jahmyr Gibbs is a wide receiver.
Yep.
Sam Laporta is a wide receiver. So when starting to look at it that way, Anson, I don't want to always have to agree with Brad Holmes. But then again, I always want to agree with Brad Holmes. I think I agree with him as of right now.
Realistically, there's not one perfect roster out of all 32 in the NFL.
Tell that to the 49ers because they're backsliding. Yeah, but they're backsliding.
Yeah.
They're backsliding a little
Absolutely.
bit. Yeah.
The 49ers have had a rookie quarterback they were paying all these years.
Yeah.
For the past couple of years, that's how they've gotten to the title game both those times.
That's why they couldn't bring back Armstead this year because they have to pay somebody. His name is
someone's got to go.
Yeah, good call.
We have a top 5 offense the last 2 seasons with a whole bunch of guys that probably wouldn't be the 4th receiver on most teams. You've taken rookies and developed them at lightning speed in the course of 1 season to create this just pocket of comfort in terms of targets and players that he has around him. This is a guy in Jared Goff that's 29, 1 year older than Joe Burrow. People really don't realize that. So when I look at what he's done, his body of work over the last 3 years, especially the last 2, this is a guy that has done a whole lot with not much. Now, Jared Goff is surrounded. He's not looking at Hendon Hooker like he was last year, like, well, I got to play my butt off so that they don't bring this kid up. Everyone's secure on this team because they're getting paid for what they produce. And it's all in-house guys. It's guys that are part of this culture that they hand-selected. I mean, it's just such a good time to be a Lions fan. I want to take it one step further. When we were Stafford people, we were arguing whether he was a top 12 quarterback in the league. Hadn't won a playoff game. Now we got a guy who just won 2 playoff games, and we argue adamantly
in the same year
whether or not this guy's a top 8 quarterback or not. So I don't want to argue 8 versus top 12, but what I've seen for the first time in my life, aside from some Eric Kramer time, is the majority of this city has embraced Jared Goff. The only thing that people are disputing is whether he got overpaid or not. But this, make no mistake, is our quarterback in Detroit.
I don't want to overshadow our next call. We do have Rod Allen on the phone, so we're going to take a quick break. so we can get to the Detroit Tigers, who beat the Marlins last night 6-5 and had a bomb hit
Welcome back, Rod.
by somebody we will talk about. Welcome back, Rod. But let's take a quick commercial break and let's do merch.
Stuff up some of the latest hoodies, the tees, and the hats that are guaranteed to turn heads. We still have the 775,000 NFL Detroit Draft Day t-shirt for sale. Also, we have that new golf quarter pullover for you to get. So make sure you head to shop.woodwardsports.com right now and load up on some of the best Detroit sports merch. And speaking of the best sports station will be right back.
Congratulations to the real coach of the year, Motor City Dan Campbell.
Just put your head down and go to work. It's about to be fun, man. It's about to be fun.
Woodward Sports.
What's up, everybody? Neil Rule, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, home of the Planet Fitness Studios. Let me tell you a little personal story about myself with Planet Fitness. Planet Fitness helped me change my life, and it can do the same for you. The best gym in the gym game. The clean facilities, tons of cardio equipment, tons of weights as well. And look, through all the price increases, inflation, all that, hasn't happened at Planet Fitness. Still $1 down, $10 per month, $24.99 a month for the Black Card as well. It's Planet Fitness, everybody, where your fitness is essential.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
To any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week, walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week, walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
It is that time. You see the gun. You know what time it is. It's time to talk about Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential. $10 a month is all they are charging. Yes, they have not raised the prices since the inception. You want to get with people you trust? Planet Fitness. Also now featuring 30-minute workout. You got a full body workout, 30 minutes. They got it set up. All you got to do, read the cards. And there's also, for your membership, trainers on staff to service you. It's just a great place to be. Planet Fitness, your fitness is essential. We talked about it right after the last segment. Detroit Tigers, they win last night, 65
Big
with the
win.
Marlins. Big win. They are now 21 and 20.
21
They are
20. They have
over.
not been under 500 yet.
They have over 500 for the first time this long and playing, 4 or 5 seasons, man?
Heck
6, 7, 8 seasons?
At least.
100%. Tom Masway, this next guy is a friend of the show.
You
but
bet.
you know him better than everybody.
That's right. It's our good friend, Rod Allen. You know it. He's the voice of the Florida Marlins and Bally Sports Florida. Of course, longtime Detroit Tigers analyst here on Fox Sports Detroit and Bally's after that. We love him. It's Rod Allen. We see you, Rod. We see you. What's up, my friend?
You already know. Tom. I'm just chilling, man. I'm happy to be back in Michigan and broadcasting a game for the first time since I left. So it was very special for me last night. I got a lot of ties here.
You know it, man. I know you and Craig Monroe are tight as well. And I know he's learned a lot off of you over the years. And we have the pleasure of having him both on television and in radio. He's two different people, though. When he's on TV, he's Simo. When he's on radio, he's Craig Monroe. He's all right, man. You did a good job teaching that kid.
You know what? That's one of the things that I'm most proud of the time that I spent here is the fact that I called Craig. He was sitting at home on the couch, and he had just retired. And I knew he had a nice personality, and I knew we were looking to hire a sideline guy or a guy to work in the studio. He came in, he killed the interview, and he's been here for I don't know how long now, over a decade. So I'm proud of that. I mean, I taught him everything that I knew, even though some people wouldn't do that. But it was fun working with him. But not only him, man, so many special memories here with Willie Horton. And, you know, it's a special city, man. It's a special team. It's a special franchise. And I was a part of it for 16 years, arguably the best 16 years they've ever had.
You're not kidding, Rod. You're not kidding. Compare this team. It's tough to compare them, but try to compare this Tiger team that you're seeing now to the Tiger team that they had that great 10-year run. Do you see any similarities in this new Tigers team?
No, not really. I mean, Scoobel, and I don't want to be disrespectful. They got some really good players on the field. Riley Green is a really nice player. Torkelson obviously got off to a slow start, but he's got crazy power. But if you look at what we were running out there on a nightly basis with either Prince Fielder or Miggy in the lineup or Victor Martinez, the Grandersons of the world, Polanco's, Guillen's, Maglio Ordonez, not to mention Verlander and Scherzer and Price and Anibal Sanchez. I mean, it was incredible. Dave Dombrowski is a Hall of Fame general manager, and the teams that he has put together in the past are incredible. And he has another one of those teams right now in Philadelphia Phillies.
Yeah,
Look at that Phillies team, and that's a comparison to the teams that we had, man.
Good point there, Rod.
Rod, good to talk to you as always. We talk about this team and this team buying in to the Detroit Tigers. You see they're 21-20. But the pitching has been way better than the hitting has been. Is this a team that you can fully buy into actually being a competitor in the Central, or is this one of those levels where they've only been playing against the Central Division and water will find its level as the season progresses?
They're going to be able to compete, in my opinion. I have not watched them a whole lot other than when I was doing my homework to get ready for this series. But I do peek at them out of the corner of my eye and listen to Craig from time to time. But they've done what a lot of teams have done, Braylon. They have kind of built this team from the back to the front, and that's what the bullpen. Bullpen is really good. They win the games they're supposed to win, and that's what you're supposed to do when you're kind of a rebuilding team. And they're still kind of in those the outer stages of rebuilding, but they still need some real big pieces, like some nice free agents as far as bats are concerned. And they probably will do that in the offseason depending on where they finish. But their bullpen will be intact. Their starting pitching is starting to be as good as they thought it would be. So now once they get the offense rolling, and they do have some guys that they're high on, although they do need some help. They need some other pieces to come in here. And once they do that, I mean, I think you guys are going to see a really good brand of baseball for the next 5 years or so. A.J. Hinch, he's a nice skipper. Everybody knows that. Scott Harris, I mean, the new president in charge. I mean, he's crafty. He does nice things. So I think you guys are in good hands, and I don't think it's a fluke.
I love that.
Rod, I got to say, you're one of my 3 all-time favorite announcers. 2 legends, Ernie Harwell and George Blaha, right up there with you.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, up there.
Yeah,
whoa,
I put you in high company,
goodness.
my friend.
Whoa.
Now, what I got to say about you, though, is that you have transcended more than just an announcer. I mean, you've got clips online of some of your sound bites, obviously your time as a player. I'm not going to go too far into those, but
please don't.
I just want to ask you, I imagine when you're out with the other announcers and you're traveling and stuff, do fans just have a different reaction to you than most other guys behind the mic?
I get a lot of attention. I do. I get a lot of attention. And it really doesn't matter whether it's in Miami or here in Detroit, or I could be walking in Hawaii and somebody will hear my voice and say, I know that voice. And they'll come over and say, you're Rod Allen. And I'll say, yeah, I am Rod Allen. But, I mean, to make a long story short, I mean, I just had a lot of fun up there. I mean, I was green in the first couple of years when I got here. But, once I kind of hit my stride and started to understand what I was doing and entertaining the fans and having fun with the fans and, some of my sayings, I mean, they're more the same kind of sayings that, most guys say when you're in the clubhouse or when you're in the locker room, just some crazy stuff that we might say to one another, but I just kind of brought it to life, on the baseball field. And then when I started the big fella thing with Miguel Cabrera and Country Strong with Marcus Timms, I mean, people just love that stuff, they just loved it. I mean, the second deck stuff, I mean, people did. I don't know why the people here, man, just went crazy over some of the things that I said, but they did go crazy. But I have fun here, man. 16 years is an incredible run, especially for a career minor league player. I only spent maybe 100 days in the big leagues, 100 days as a player in the big leagues.
You got a ring.
I was able to parlay that into 25 years in the broadcast booth. So I'm awfully blessed. I worked hard at it. They didn't give me anything by any stretch of the imagination,
100.
but I'm really, really honored and blessed that I've been able to do this for so long when really mostly superstars do this job. I mean, superstar players.
Hey, Rod, take us back to 06 Tigers to the 14 Tigers, obviously. What a great run that was. One of the better runs I've ever been a part of. And, I'm a New York Yankees fan, and that was Yankee-esque, except they could not take it off the sheet and win the big one. What do you think? What do you think happened that they could not win those World Series against definitely inferior teams?
Well, First of all, the success started with Jim Leland. Dave Dombrowski obviously got him off his couch and brought him back because he thought he was energized.
Yeah.
And boy, was he energized. And when he came in 06, he sent every player a letter in the mail. This is before the season started. And he told them that he felt good about the team, and he wanted them to start walking around like the New York Yankees. When you guys come out of the dugout, I want you to pretend like you're the Yankees and start playing like the Yankees going into spring training. And I remember in spring training, they had a really good spring. Now, you remember Dimitri Young one time ran over somebody at home plate. They started to believe in spring training, and then when he was able to get Verlander and Zumaya on his team, I think he thought he really had a good team. So then the team just kind of, we kind of treaded water for a while there, and then all of a sudden the team just got hot, man, and started gelling, and people started playing, and people started getting big hits, and, of course, Jim was the leader of all of that. I mean, he was the guy that kept that team together. He was the guy that made that team feel like it could run through a brick wall. But at the end of the day, the things that cost us the championships were the fact that we did not play well, obviously, against St. Louis. That was just a really bad series. There was no that team didn't look like that all year long.
No.
I mean, pitchers were throwing the ball everywhere. People were falling. It just was a bad series. It was not a good look for us. But we could have used somebody in the back in that book, and there's no doubt about that. Then when you got to the other series, the San Francisco Giants just kind of outplayed us in that particular World Series. So yeah, I don't know why we couldn't win the big game, man. But as far as much talent that was on that field, and Mr. Illich with the open pocketbooks, it's a shame we couldn't win that big one. But what's funny about that is all those guys that were on that. We had 1 year we had Anibal Sanchez on the pitching staff, Porcello, Scherzer, Verlander, and I'm missing somebody else. But anyway, all those guys left, and they won championships in other places.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ain't that something?
Rod, if I'm listening to you correctly, man, what you're talking about is stars. You had stars in that team. You had people that could come, and these are best players in the NBA. in the MLB, or they ranked in there. That's what you need to win here in Detroit. Tarek Skubal, potential. Riley Patterson. Riley Patterson. Yeah. Riley Green. I'm sorry. And then obviously Torque. Right now, the three guys for the Detroit Tigers. I understand about patience. That's what Sky Harris is probably going to have, and it'll definitely be a move at the free agent mark to make. But are those three guys, in your estimation, are they three guys that can become stars? Tarek Skubal, I believe, is one.
Yeah, those guys are good players. I mean, not only those guys, but they're high on the Keith kid.
Yep.
They're high on Carpenter. They're high on those guys as well. They feel like those guys are going to be big-time performers at some point in time. Obviously, the pitching staff is getting itself back in shape with those youngsters they've had years ago, Maz and Manning. But they're going to have to continue to draft well. There's no doubt about that. They need a couple of aircraft carriers. They need a couple of guys in that middle of that batting order to hit the ball at the ballpark. They thought Torkelson was that guy, and he could still be that guy. But they definitely need some more players if they're going to compete. We talked about the teams that were here in Detroit. When I was here, I just gave you a comparison of those teams. It's the Philadelphia Phillies, it's the Atlanta Braves, it's the Los Angeles Dodgers, it's the New York Yankees. And you look at those teams, and those teams are tremendous. Yes, they got high payrolls. There's no doubt about that. But those are the teams that are usually getting to the postseason. I'm not saying you can't get there with 85, 86 wins as we did last year in Miami, and as the Arizona Diamondbacks did. They parlayed that into a world championship participation. But you got to spend money, man, and you got to get guys like Verlander and Cabrera and them kind of guys walking around, man, if you really want to be taken seriously. You can go out and compete, but if you really want to be a good team, and when you want 3 million fans coming to the ballpark like those days, those are the kind of players you got to have.
Hey, Rod, last one. I know you got to get out of here. How are they treating you in Florida? How about those Marlin fans? Not a lot of them, though, man, but they don't know what they're missing.
You know what? They'll come out when we play better. I mean, because we showed that last year. There's a lot of distractions down there in Miami.
Well,
I mean, there's a lot of things to do. Other than going in that ballpark and watching a last-place team. I mean, when you got the beach and you got all these other things, you're going to do that, and people's dollars, are very valuable to them, so they want to spend their dollars wisely. But once they start to produce and once they start to put some good players on the field, they love Jazz Chisholm. I mean, if the team played well, they come see Jazz on loan because he's a special talent. But we need to have some better players if we're going to get some of our fans to come to the ballpark. And they could not have been better to me, Maz. I mean, they welcomed me with open arms a few years ago, obviously after my situation here, and have not said one word about it, and just loved on me and allowed me to do my thing and work, and the people are special, and it's a wonderful place to land. I'll finish with this. When I was praying for my next opportunity, I was asking the Lord to get me around some water. I mean, because I'm from Santa Monica, California, and I wanted to be around some water and chill, man. He got me around a lot of water, man.
You got the best water.
Man. There's no doubt about that.
Oh, God bless you, man. Hey, we wish these things never happened to you here. We wish you was still here with us, and, things happen for a reason, I guess, man. We wish you all the best. Just don't beat us. We need to win these next 2 games. All right, Rod? Help us out.
Well, we might have to try to steal one, man. You shouldn't have won the one last night. The guy on the mound, man, Maldonado, he has a good slider. He threw 20 out of 23 sliders. What do you think Torkel's going to be sitting on? I mean, come on.
Boy, that was a no-doubter, though.
Yeah.
A no-doubter.
Oh, that's the farthest ball he's ever hit, they say.
Yep. Amazing, man. Hey, have a great night tonight.
Right, we
Not
appreciate
too great.
you,
Thank you for coming around with us, man. And we'll chat with you again.
I can be great. I can be great. I can be great.
You can, as always, man.
Just keep enjoying that Florida Miami.
All right.
We'll see you, Rod.
All right. Peace, fellas.
We see you.
All right, later.
All right.
You already know.
Yeah. 100%.
Have fun, man.
Rod Allen, Bally sports analyst now with the Florida Marlins, long time here in Detroit.
Miss
You
him.
heard that. Yeah, we
Miss
do
him
miss
a lot.
You do. When you hear the voice,
It was
instant.
fantastic.
You asked,
really is.
You asked a great question, Anson, asking about that. It got him into some stuff, and I think it got him into his love and appreciation for the city of Detroit and the Detroit Tigers, man. Great question.
Brought him back a little bit.
by
Huh?
you.
You almost got him talking about second deck.
He did. He dropped
did.
it.
Yeah.
And,
He did.
And
See,
you can
you
go
did it
online and
organically.
download it for yourself.
Yeah.
It's there. It's available. All you got to do is Google second deck, and he comes up.
I know everybody in the
Second
chat.
deck.
Everybody in the chat and everyone in Detroit wants us to ask him what happened with him and Mario. We're not going to do that.
Nah.
You heard him. He's like the people of Florida left him alone because they know why he was there and why he left here in Detroit. It sucked because Mario and Rod, to me, were the best in baseball. And that's saying something, man. I got a pretty damn good ear when it comes to broadcasters.
Maz loves broadcasters.
They were top 3 in baseball for regional
Fantastic.
coverage. They were fantastic together. And it sucks that it happened the way it did.
Yeah, Maz says it. I believe it. So they were the best at the time. Look, we're going to get a quick commercial break. We'll get back. Also, we'll get back into some Jared Goff. We'll get back into the Lions. Obviously, he signed his extension. We talked a little bit about that. But as you hear,
And some
Stick over
schedule
there.
release,
And
too.
also, NFL is hot today. We got some stuff,
Yeah,
but we
it
will
is hot
get
today.
a message from Guardian Alarm.
Stay out.
Right, it is a new year. Let Guardian Alarm offer you customized solutions from real experts, 24/7 professional monitoring, and technology backed by people. And that technology has been proven to work, and those people have been proven to care. So call 1-800.
Stay out.
That's 1-800.
Stay out.
Call them today and tell them Woodward Sports sent you.
Stay out.
We'll be right back.
You smell that? That's Brad Holmes cooking. And the off-season smells good. Woodward Sports.
Braylon Edwards here, Premier Pet Supply. Man, just looking around, who's got it better than pets? Come on, a baby stroller for Coda? A chef for Lola? Really? You don't have to tell me who the real boss here is. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody, especially here at Premier Pet Supply. For over 30 years and more than 13 locations, Premier Pet Supply has everything that your pet can dream of. And guess what? It's all under one roof. Premier Pet Supply, family owned, operated, and proud to call Metro Detroit home. Check out premierpetsupply.com or scan the QR code today. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody!
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit Sports.
What's up, everybody? Neil Rule, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, home of the Planet Fitness Studios. Let me tell you a little personal story about myself with Planet Fitness. Planet Fitness helped me change my life, and it can do the same for you. The best gym in the gym game. The clean facilities, tons of cardio equipment, tons of weights as well. And look, Through all the price increases, inflation, all that, hasn't happened at Planet Fitness. Still $1 down, $10 per month, $24.99 a month for the Black Card as well. It's Planet Fitness, everybody, where your fitness is essential.
Congratulations to the real Coach of the Year, Motor City Dan Campbell.
Just put your head down and go to work. It's about to be fun, man. It's about to be fun.
Woodward Sports.
Now more than ever, it's critical for you to have your insurance reviewed, and Swiss Insurance will make sure that your carrier is not slipping in extra fees. Call Mark at Swiss Insurance today, 313-530-1698, or visit SwissINS.com. Back to Bray and Anson.
Back to Ermanni Edwards with Maz. Maz had to go. We wish you for, and also we sorry for your loss. Anson Wells joining in for Ryan Ermanni today. Great interview out of Rhode Island, Bally Sports, Marlins. Amazing to hear him. Such in a good space, too.
Yeah.
And I keep bringing it up. You asked that question, and also some people in the chat. I saw you put that up there, Pete. Wish Rod the best, because they definitely love him here in Detroit. We love you, too, Rod. But it's time to get intern or Jay Green in here, as we say. Keep talking about this Jared Goff deal.
Spartan in the house.
$212 million. You had to bring that up. Yeah.
Go white.
You guys need to call and answer. We say Maize and Blue.
I love when he's here.
We
It's
just
great.
leave
A
it
little
at that.
Spartan that love, man.
Call and answer stuff, man. You got call and answer. Anyway, $212 million, 4 years. Jared Goff, he signs that deal that he's been waiting for so long. Where are you at with the deal? Because a lot of people say they agree. A lot of people say they disagree. Where are you at with it?
Where I'm at with the deal is I more so feel I asked a question to people that don't like it. What would you prefer?
And speaking of people, you know what? I forgot to say, let's open the phone lines up as we're having this conversation about Jared Goff, about the deal. The number here is 313-552-6322. We are opening up those lines. Want to hear more so from the negative people, but we want to hear from everybody. Jay Green, my bad. Keep going.
No, yeah, you good. So I more so just asked the people that disagree with it, like, what would you have preferred that we do? Because, like, all right, we don't sign Jared Goff this year, and just let it play out, and then say he have a good year. Now we have to pay him even more than $53 million.
Now that's 3 years in a row he's had.
Yeah, so it's like, or you could have franchise tagged him, and then God forbid he'd go crazy on the franchise tag, and now we got to pay him even more. Like, we got to pay him like all the way. We got to pay him for sure indefinite number one money. So it's like, I feel right now, like how y'all talked about earlier, he's not going to be number two by the time he probably takes a snap. He probably going to be around that 5-6 range, like you said, because other quarterbacks that got to get paid. And plus, like you said, too, he's earned it. He went out there, played. Granted, the first year, only the first half of the first year was kind of bad. And then other than that, he's been playing good, been giving us results. So when you got guys like that come out there and give us results, help turn around the franchise, the way to reward them is with pay. I would have preferred to probably see it be a little bit more incentive-based, but honestly feel, like you said, look at it more of a 4-year, $170 million, and I feel that's like perfect for Jared Goff and what he's done for our team so far.
Absolutely.
Oh, we got a call.
Absolutely. We got somebody on the phones here.
We got somebody on the line.
Patch them in here and see if they're for it or against it. I know I've been hearing plenty of people against it. I don't get that. So we'll see what you guys have to say in the chat.
All right, here we go. First caller, are you there? What's your name? What do you want to talk about?
I'm Brian from Jacksonville. Fellow Detroiter, but staying in Jacksonville.
What's good, Brian?
There we go. What's going on, man? How you feel about the deal? You energized, or you in the small minority that thinks he shouldn't have got paid that much?
Oh no, I'm energized about it because look, we have to think about the future. The market is going to increase tremendously over the next few years with the guys who are up for contracts. So in a couple of years, people are going to look back on this and see that this is going to be a complete, like, awesome deal to get a quarterback of this caliber who fits this team, fits the personnel, and can lead this team to the promised land, I believe.
Yeah, 100%. And that's just it right there. It's this team. It's this personnel. Jared Goff is getting paid $53 million because he fits Ben Johnson's system, because he fits behind this offensive line, and he fits with this wide receiver core, which you've seen take off over the last 2 years with Amon-Ra, St. Brown, and then last year with Sam Laporta Anson.
And he fits with this city.
Yeah,
people aren't debating whether this should be our quarterback or not. They're just wondering whether we spent $5 million too much. But everybody in this city wants to see him under center again, aside from maybe about 4 people that believe in Hendon. Hendon, we'll see. But we're going to see him the same way that Green Bay got to see Jordan Love.
Yeah, and we appreciate your phone call. Yes, obviously Jordan Love had to wait behind Aaron Rodgers for 4 years. He goes out there, and then in the second half of the season, he lights it up and he proves that he is Matt LaFleur's guy. The Hendon Hooker thing is still very interesting.
Yeah.
You draft a guy that could have been a first-round quarterback. If he doesn't tear his ACL, he probably wins the Heisman Trophy, if we're being honest.
No doubt.
Doesn't tear his ACL, wins the Heisman Trophy. He's a first-round draft pick. Instead, you get him in the third round. That's where Hendon Hooker is. Where are you with the Hendon Hooker situation? Is he a guy that's the backup quarterback waiting for Jared Goff to finish? Because obviously, the conversation is Jared Goff going to get the 4 years? They got a guy waiting in the wings. Where are you at with Hendon Hooker in that process?
We got a master class here in Detroit, being in the NFC North over the last 20 years, watching how Green Bay handled their quarterback situation. They traded even some guys that were good, in Matt Flynn and some others. What they are able to do in taking these high-profile quarterbacks and sit them and let them learn and not throw them to the wolves. Now, obviously, when he steps in, even if it had been this last season, he's getting the keys to a Ferrari, but there's no pressure on him. And now that we've got an extension for Goff, there's no pressure on Goff. We're not spending our off seasons trying to find the right backup quarterback and sign him for $5, $6, $8 million to bring him in. We got our guy. We're going to develop him. Not only is he super athletic and a very good quarterback, but I think that he absolutely fits in with our culture. You saw him. He was a leader at Tennessee. I love our situation. There is zero quarterback controversy in Detroit for the first time in my lifetime.
It depends on what show you're listening to, because the heavyweights were calling for your boy, Hendon Hooker, middle of the season last year. But no, I actually thought Joel brought up a great point, because this is my problem with people that complain. When you ask them what the solution is, they don't have one. Nope. They just know.
What solution? That's not what I'm supposed to give you.
They just know Goff's the problem. Yeah. Okay, you've told me the problem. How do we get better from here? Nobody can give you that answer, because how many quarterbacks are better from here? Maybe 6, 5 in the league, if we want to get into some debates.
Yeah.
And who controls their offense like Jared Goff? Maybe 2 or 3 in the league.
That's a great point.
And who means what they mean to the city like Jared Goff? I'd argue 0.
Maybe Patty Mahomes, that's about it.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes on a football level, but he didn't revitalize Kansas City. You know what I mean?
He just opened up a restaurant with Travis Kelce.
And that's great. That's great. But with Jared Goff, that's why like the complainers of the world's like the easy. You know, oh, we need someone better. Who's better?
Can't give you
that. Right.
And so those are the people that I hate. And here's another fun stat.
I love
Jared Goff,
that's my guy. What's
the
up, Easy?
only quarterback in NFL history to throw for 30,000 plus yards and have fewer than 100 interceptions for his career. The only one to ever do it. So you got to appreciate that.
Brazilian composure, baby.
And that's one of the big things about Jared Goff. If you look at over the last 3 years, and I saw that comment I brought up earlier, and I'm going to bring it back. Someone said, but Matt Stafford didn't have those weapons. And then you went off, and I love it. Did you remember what Jared Goff had year one as a Detroit Lion in 2021? Do you remember Quintez Cephas? Do you remember having to bring Josh Reynolds in at the end of the season?
Desperate for a guy like Josh Reynolds that couldn't even play anywhere else.
Amon-Ra St. Brown, if you want to be honest, really only got that chance. And God darn it, we happy we got that chance. Remember Quintez Cephas tears his ACL. Then you have to play a young Amon-Ra St. Brown. Then you have to go get Josh Reynolds. Then what happened to Berryman? What is it, Perriman that you brought in? What happened to that guy? What happened to the other guys? The tight end situation. I teach you. This is what he had to work with.
Yeah.
And then you saw how he finished that year, and obviously you see what happened. So, Joe, look, Jared Goff, I'm not going to sit here and talk about the skill set. I'm not sitting here and argue. And that's what this conversation is about. The big thing that people don't get is not the skill set. It's how he fits your offense. It's what he's done in that system. It's what he's done with this team. And in this team, in 3 years, he's won 2 playoff games. And they were both in the same year. It was last year. It's not who's a better player. It's not who's faster. Because we've proven there's only been, 3 mobile quarterbacks to win the Super Bowl in the last 25 years?
Who brings the W?
And what else does this guy have to do?
Yeah.
Seriously, like, that's my question.
Cut off his arm and throw with his left.
Like, what is this guy? He took the Lions to the NFC Championship game.
Right.
He
Say it
won
again.
2 playoff games home playoff games in Ford Field. He established more playoff victories in his 3 years than the entire history of the Super Bowl era Lions. What more do you need to see? Like, as a player, Braylon, like, have you ever played with a guy that's done so much and gotten so little credit?
No. I could crack the joke and say myself, but I won't do it.
I almost said it.
But that's not the case. I get all the love and more than I deserve. So no, not that. I haven't. I was asked this question offline.
Crazy to me.
Somebody asked me. Actually, it was you. It was you. You can ask the same question. Ask the question. I'll answer it on there.
The Mark Sanchez
The
one?
Mark Sanchez question.
I said, how would you have felt if while you were playing, Mark Sanchez got a contract like this as a player?
And before you go crazy out there, Detroit, him comparing Jared Goff to Mark Sanchez is not necessarily what he's doing. He's comparing the success that they had in that window. In the 2-year window, Mark Sanchez went to the AFC Championship twice, and we started as wild cards, which means that's 4 playoff wins. 4 playoff wins as a quarterback in the NFL is pretty amazing. But when you look at it and how I answered it is, he didn't have the production from a quarterback standpoint that would warrant that money. Like, yes, we went to the AFC Championship. Defense in 09 was lights out. Darrelle Reeves should have won the MVP, the defensive MVP. I stand on that. It is what it is. And guess who won that year? It was a friend of mine, Charles Woodson. Darrelle Reeves should have.
Pretty good.
Hey, he's the best of all time, in my opinion.
No doubt.
But yes, should have won defensive. That's how we won. We won with the running game. We led the league in rushing. Thomas Jones, Sean Green, Iowa led the league in rushing. The second year, once again, Santonio had 900. I had 900. Dustin Keller had 400. We weren't winning through the air. We were winning a mixture of the Danian on the ground, us through the air, and then the defense. So he didn't deserve it. What the league is now, Jared Goff is performing at the highest level. 2 years in a row, you said it, finishing top 5 as a quarterback in the league, offensively, statistically. And you look at the yards of Amon-Ra St. Brown. You look at the yards of Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta, Josh Reynolds in terms of how many first downs he had per catches. So I don't think Mark warranted that money. Jared Goff, I think, does.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Watch what happens when this defense provides our offense an extra possession per game. Watch what happens when you have an entire team that's been together as long as they have, and the big three are paid, not looking over their shoulder.
I'm glad you asked that question. Let's step away from the Jared Goff stuff for a second. Let's get into that defense. Obviously, you bring in DJ Reader from the Cincinnati Bengals. You bring
overhaul your secondary.
Davenport, Meek Roberts. You bring Carlton Davis II. So we believe that on paper, this is the best move. This was not brilliant. This was a very good offseason for Brad Holmes and Detroit Lions. But at the same time, are we fully sure that we could depend on these injured players, if you will? Because 3 of them were injured last season at some point, whether it was the beginning, whether it was the end, and missed significant time. Are we sure that Brad Holmes got it right, or are we giving him credit because we love Brad Holmes?
Well, when you look at what our defense was last year, I mean, it wasn't a top half unit.
Yeah.
That's
putting it lightly.
It got better as the season went on. They started to gel. But then there was a lot of injuries where guys that probably shouldn't be on NFL rosters were contributing, like Vildor. I mean, Vildor's
they bought him back.
But yeah, when you look at what they were able to do in that stretch, I've seen them improve at all 3 portions of the defense. Defensive line is better and healthier, and the young guys are a little bit more experienced. The secondary went from a weakness to possibly our strength on defense. I think that the linebackers are going to be probably the same, but on paper, healthy or not, this defense is better. And the defense that I saw in the second half last year, the additions tells me this could be a top 12, even a top 10 unit.
What do you think, Jay Green, about this defense, man? I'm going to come to you. Talk at the end of the day, DJ Reader, a lot is being put on DJ Reader in terms of him being here, him being the guy that not only stops the run, he actually is a pretty good guy in terms of QB pressure. So a lot being put on him. Are you confident in his defense, or do you think this is Brad Holmes hoping that this way works and so he can pay these guys to the tune of $444 million?
I would say I feel our defense is definitely a solid unit for the point it's at right now because, like Anson said, near the end of the year, our defense was improving. It was always like a solid run defense, so to say. So we always had that covered. It was just our pass defense was putrid. So it was clear in the free agency and the draft that that's what we wanted to focus on, getting 2 corners in free agency and drafting 2 corners, showing that the pass defense was a major concern. And that's also why I'm also concerned, or not concerned, but confused on the people wondering why we gave Goff this contract, saying he should have took a deal for the team, saying we still had holes to fill. But it's like, over the offseason, our main hold of field was defense. Signed one of the best defensive linemen in the league in DJ Reader. We got Aleem McNeil coming back. Got James Houston coming back. We gonna have him for a whole year because last year he got injured game 2 on a special teams play. So it's like I feel I'm not really too worried with our defense. I'm more excited that's what it is. I'm more excited to see how our defense looks. I'm excited to see how that pass unit look. I feel this year, to give it a number, I feel we probably could be 7 to 10 range with the talent that we have. Wow. Top 7, top 10.
Love that.
Yeah.
I mean, defensively, I think this is the first year you could say you have a Brad Holmes defense on the field. They've still been working with Jamie Collins parts and trying to figure out that mess that he was left in to get it to where it needs to be. Yeah. So I think defensively, we'll see a leap forward this year, definitely.
I think so too. Do you agree with that? The leap forward this year in terms of the injuries, the contracts that we've been dealing with. That's been nagging. That's one thing that I don't think Aaron Glenn gets enough credit for, is doing a lot with a little. Every year there's been injuries, and then we didn't necessarily have the manpower in the beginning.
AG has done so much with so very little. I can't wait to see him and what he can do with some brand new shiny toys. And Reader's one of the top 4 in his position. His impact is going to bleed all over the field onto all other 10 guys in that defensive unit. It's going to make the defensive line better. It's going to make the secondary better. It's going to make the linebackers better. What he means to this defense, even if we made no other moves, would be substantial. But what we've done with that secondary and allowing those guys to grow into it, you're going to see a unit that might be top 12 for the season, but probably is top 7 in the last quarter of the season.
Yeah, top 7, and that's how you win.
Oh, yeah.
That's how you get over the hump. That's how you get to the Super Bowl.
Especially with a top 4 offense, baby.
Yeah, the top 4 offense last year, but because of the defense and the inconsistencies, and you still were knocking on heaven's door.
Right.
Let's get to the offense just for 2 seconds, and then we'll get to a break, but we'll get this in. Right. You know who a person is I think they're forgetting about, Stick and Jay? Forgetting about Ben Johnson. Like, we're making this so much about the wide receivers that we have. We're making this so much about, is Jared Goff the guy? For the 5th time you've asked that question. You forget about the guy that set all this in motion. It's Ben Johnson and his eliteness and him staying this year. Talk about what he means and how he has more in the tank. It's not just Jared Goff. They work together.
You know, I feel Ben Johnson definitely got a lot in the tank. I feel, honestly, he sees the real potential in our team, which is why he denied the head coaching opportunities he had.
For 2 years.
Yeah, for 2 years in a row. Because I guess, in my opinion, he looked at those opportunities like, okay, I don't have the team and the system that I have around.
You would have had Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, it's like I feel he knew as a head coach he would have probably been out of there in like 2 to 3 years. So it's like, let me just stick with this team. I feel he probably feels that we honestly have a Super Bowl contender. And the 2 years before Amon-Ra got into the point that he was last year, we were still able to have a competent, solid offense with essentially, I don't want to say no pieces, but not pieces that like a lot of the majority of household names aren't going to know. So it's like we more of a system, and it's not really go off name. So as long as the players can go out there and know how to work that system, our offense will be good. And you also said people forgetting about Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson, man.
People are also forgetting that we got J-Mo about to be ready for a whole, about to go through a whole training camp with us, a whole season with us. There's no BS going on before the season.
Ben Johnson's like a chef, right?
Right.
You know,
cooking it up.
He's cooking it up, and he hasn't had his ingredients yet, but he's still cooking up a pretty damn good meal. And it's the same thing with Dan Campbell and the rest of the coaching staff. Now they're being handed the ingredients. And would you rather stay at a restaurant where you're the sous chef, but you get the best ingredients in the world? Or are you going to go try to start your own restaurant and reinvent the wheel with ingredients you don't even know?
That's a perfect way to put it.
Stick.
And that's why Ben Johnson's here.
That was
no pun intended.
Right.
No
that's why
intended.
Ben Johnson, sometimes it's all about the recipe, you know? Like, it's like baking a cake. You mess up one measurement, the cake's going to come out flat. It's going to come out nasty. This time, with the Lions, they have all the right ingredients. You just hope it comes together to make the perfect thing.
Damn, that was a good analogy.
And I'm
metaphor,
hungry.
excuse me. I'm hungry as heck too now. I want to get back to the Jameson Williams thing. I want to ask you, Anson. Obviously, we know what happened year 1. Year 2, there was here, there was there, and then you see the last game, and that was the NFC Championship, scored 2 touchdowns, 1 on the reverse, 1 on the pass in the back of the zone. What are your realistic expectations for what Jameson can provide and bring to the team this year? Every year it's the same question. Every quarter of the year it's the same question. You wonder, did we get it right by moving up 12 or 20 spots to get Jameson Williams? Like, what is your expectations realistically for number 9 this year?
Okay, I don't want to get into whether it was the right draft pick because that's in the past. We are here now with him.
Okay, I like it.
You can't underestimate how impactful it is missing games through injury or suspension, but more importantly, not being allowed to practice with the team. That sets a player back. That sets veterans back. You got a guy that's injured, coming off a major injury in his first year, really didn't get any of that OTA, training camp, preseason time in. Yeah. And then the same thing happens in his second year. This is a young man only in his third season that after he really got some traction and some time with the offense, you saw him just blossom at the end of the season. You saw him start to, dare I say it, kind of dominate in the playoffs. So regardless of what you think in what it costs to get him at 12 a couple years ago, he's here now. And this truly is a guy that has the ceiling and the talent that could make the whole league scared. And he'll be our number 2 wide receiver. I believe that him and Jack Campbell, and I know that Jack Campbell's not a name that we throw around a lot, but I think that those 2 guys are the guys that have been slept on by Lions fans and by the NFL, that if both of them can take that step to what they were drafted to be, you're going to see so much difference and dominance by both units.
Yeah, and also Jameson Williams, he's 23 years old and he's entering year 3. He is still he's still a young individual. When I was entering year 3, I was 24 and a month older than him. So a lot of time, and also like you said, and I love it, finally, he has an off season where he can be with the team the whole time at 100% full speed. Look, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll hear from Wake Up Woodward. And when we come back, we'll take a break from the Lions. I know you love the Lions, so do I, but some of that NFL schedule, more and more is coming out. We'll jump into that and some other stuff. But first, like we said, Wake Up Woodward, Pete.
That's right, everybody. It is Wake Up Woodward, the morning show here, 8 to 10 a.m., Monday through Friday mornings on Woodward Sports. You can join Sam Flannel, Matt Broder, Kool-Aid, JB, and Kenny G, again, every Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. mornings right here on Detroit's #1 sports station, and that would be Woodward Sports. We'll be right back.
You smell that? That's Brad Holmes cooking, and the off-season smells good. Woodward Sports.
Braylon Edwards here, Premier Pet Supply. Man, just looking around, who's got it better than pets? Come on, a baby stroller for Coda? A chef for Lola? Really? You don't have to tell me who the real boss here is. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody, especially here at Premier Pet Supply. For over 30 years and more than 13 locations, Premier Pet Supply has everything that your pet can dream of, and guess what? It's all under one roof. Premier Pet Supply, family owned, operated, and proud to call Metro Detroit home. Check out premierpetsupply.com or scan the QR code today. Who's got it better than pets?
Nobody! The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
Come to any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
Thank you to the Detroit Lions and Sheila Hamp for the best season in Lions history. Now it's time to let Brad Holmes cook. Woodward Sports.
What's better than crispy chicken and pizza while watching your favorite team play? The answer is nothing. And also now at Soroki's, Nashville Hot is back. Limited time only. I keep telling you that I'm going to come on here one day and there'll be no more Nashville Hot. You're going to be so pissed because the sandwich, the pizza, the chicken tenders, and the Nashville Hot fries are fire, pun intended. But if that's too hot for you, you can do the salads, the sides. It doesn't matter. They're popping up all over Metro Detroit for a reason. That's because Nashville Hot is back and it is popping. Soroki's, also, Soroki's.com. You can see the menu for yourself. Welcome back.
I want to throw one more point on here.
You go ahead.
You welcome us back.
This is your show. Go ahead, brother.
I'm talking about J-Mo, and I know we're going to move on here, but Art Vandelay, who is an importer and exporter, by the way, he had a great point here.
I love it.
It's not just J-Mo that needs to get that time. Jared Goff needs to get that time, too, because J-Mo's such a special weapon. His speed, you got to adjust to that. So I think that Jared Goff getting some time with him, getting those reps, they're both going to get better, and they're going to get that timing down. I've been a J-Mo hater. I didn't like what we did and what he's done since we had to make that move to get him. But, boy, the ceiling with this kid in a full offseason together, not just for him, but for Jared as well. Love that point, Art.
It's funny you bring that up because you brought the Mark Sanchez question and what would I have done, would I have been happy or not. When I got traded to the New York Jets after the fourth game of the season. Thank God. But I got traded to the Jets going into game 5. Mark and I didn't have rhythm. We didn't have timing. We didn't understand each other. So it took a large part of that season, and it wasn't until you get to the offseason. Now we have OTAs. Now we have minicamp. Now we have, hey, he comes out to San Mateo, or I go out to San Mateo and work out with him and, at his high school. We work out. Soon as the season started in terms of training camp in 2010, we was cooking. We was cooking with grease because now we had trust in one another. Now we also had that rhythm and timing. So rhythm and timing and trust are 3 things that make that wide receiver quarterback relationship a good thing.
How cool is it to have an all-pro NFL player here to be able to ask this question? Who do you think it took more adjustment from arriving? Was it him adjusting to you, or was it you adjusting to him? Obviously, it was both ways, but who do you felt needed to make the bigger adjustment?
Probably quarterback position. Yeah. Quarterback position, really learning wide receivers, learn where I like to catch passes, where I'm best at catching passes, what routes are best, like in terms of what you can do, what you can't do. I think as a wide receiver, we adjust the quarterbacks all the time, so it's a little easier for us, especially if you're a right-handed quarterback. I think it's harder for the quarterback to adjust to the wideout.
And so to that point, I would imagine that probably 70% of the practice time that J-Mo's had, he probably was getting thrown to by the number 2 quarterback.
It's true. This is true. We don't know who that was at the time. All right. It's time to get into some schedule releases. Guess what? We know who's now playing the first Monday night, Sunday night, and Fox game, but we'll start with the Monday Night Football game. That will be the New York Jets and the San Francisco 49ers. That's right. Mr. Irrelevant himself, Brock Purdy, takes on one of the people that used to try to call the GOAT and a classmate of mine in 2005 and my squad, New York Jets, Aaron Rodgers, back from that Achilles situation. Anson, I know you study rosters, so I bring this to you first. What do you think in that matchup? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Did they get it right in making this the game? You saw what happened last time. They started the season with Aaron Rodgers on Monday Night Football. I was at that game. Didn't go so well. Do you like the scheduling of the 49ers and the Jets?
I somehow have become a fan of Aaron Rodgers since he left Green Bay.
It's creepy, right?
Well, you know,
it's creepy.
I know that woke is a 4-letter word these days. Well, it's always been a 4-letter word, but I believe in awoken. And I believe that he is an awoken guy that chases spirituality and chases growing himself on the inside. So I'm all for that. So I'm starting to like him. I think that he's outspoken in a time where people don't get to speak. So I was kind of bummed for him when that happened. You know, I was excited to see what he was going to do. And is this guy who came up in a system, very much like we've been talking about, had the time behind Favre to really get good and was just absolutely at home in Green Bay. We have no idea what this guy is going to be like in a different jersey. All of football wants to see, though. Yeah. Love him or hate him. And then obviously the 49ers, in a guy like Purdy, I think Purdy probably is one of the best comps at his young age to an Aaron Rodgers. Mobile, but not crazy mobile. Composed, accurate. I think I love it, actually. I really love that. And I'm not a Jets guy,
Yeah.
I'm a new Aaron Rodgers guy, but I do want to see the 49ers, and I would love to see Rodgers upset him.
I will get that email for Aaron Rodgers fan club so you can send him a letter and tell him yourself. Jay Green,
There we go.
to you.
I know Stick's a fan.
No pun intended. I come to you and I ask, Aaron Rodgers, you give him Mike Williams from the Los Angeles Chargers. You give him Garrett Wilson, who they drafted 3 years ago, had a year to the tune where he was offensive rookie of the year 2 years ago. Breece Hall finally finished the season coming off that torn ACL in rookie one. So we're expecting a lot out of him. Is it enough for Aaron Rodgers to have a chance to win that division? Because if my estimation, that division's kind of up for grabs.
Yeah, honestly, I'm gonna just put it out there. I'm not the biggest Aaron Rodgers fan, so this is just completely objective.
I don't think anybody under 30 is.
Yeah, no. So Aaron Rodgers, I had to preface that with Aaron Rodgers is a talent. I feel that regardless of who you put around him, but you can skimp out on a couple of positions when you got a talent like Aaron Rodgers. That's gonna get you to. I feel he's gonna definitely get them to the playoffs. So in that, I feel with how Buffalo looking, and then Miami did get better, so I would probably give them the division.
Okay.
But I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest bit if Aaron Rodgers wins the division because they got Breece Hall, which is, in my opinion, he's going to be like, NFL, they don't have most improved. They got comeback player of the year.
Don't sleep on Braylon Allen over there that they just drafted either.
You know, I like that first name.
I'm not going to say Breece, though, he got like an extra gear in him that just
He does.
If he doesn't tear his ACL in year one, like he would have finished a top 3 running back in the NFL.
No,
not
definitely.
Rookie tag on that.
And then, you put him with a receiver like Garrett Wilson, definitely. And also, I think people are forgetting Allen Lazard is over there. Allen Lazard was a non-factor because he was over there playing with Zach Wilson. So Zach Wilson didn't have the chemistry with him. But now Allen Lazard will be over there for the reason that he signed with the Jets in Aaron Rodgers. And if you remember, Allen Lazard was a very above-average receiver on the Packers.
Playing with who, though, at quarterback?
That's what I said, with Aaron Rodgers. So Aaron
only
Rodgers
quarterback that's
back.
ever liked that receiver.
I was just about to say, I can't say anything because I love my Jets. So I'm neutral, but I agree with you over there.
But, I would say I'm not – this is how I put it. I feel the Dolphins and the Jets are going to be playing for the division up into the last week of the season.
Okay.
And I feel it's just up in the air between those two.
And you guys are all sleeping on Chesterfield Township's own Tyler Conklin. Fire up Chips.
He's been there 3 years.
But he's never had somebody thrown to like Aaron Rodgers is. You guys don't realize how solid that Conklin is.
How old is Travis Conklin now?
Good question. He is 28 years old, right in the prime of his career.
Okay,
if you're
I like it.
waiting on tight end in your fantasy football leagues, that's your guy.
I like it. Look, it's going to be an interesting game. It'll be great. Also, it'll be great to see what Brock Purdy has in the bank account by the time that game comes around. Sunday
More than
night,
Jared Goff.
I don't know. Part of the negotiation is, look, we know what you did back-to-back NFC Championship, but it helps when you got the number one offensive weapon on your team and Christian McCaffrey. It helps when you got Deebo Samuel, who's the best offensive player on your team, and it helps when you have Brandon Ayuk and George Kittle. So that's when you get in negotiations. Those are things that come up. But getting into the Sunday night game, it will be,
yeah, dude.
This is, hold on, how is this the Sunday night game if
at 4:25
they play
this is
Thursday?
week 2. I don't know why Maz put week 2 in there. It says week 2 in there.
This is week 2.
That's what it says.
This is week 2. Okay, well, we can talk about it then. It's all good, man. We appreciate you and we love you and you're working hard. Cincinnati Bengals, Joe Burrow will be back and Patrick Mahomes. The game is at Arrowhead. It's also known as Burrowhead until they lost 2 years ago, it was 2 years ago. So what do you think in terms of Joe Burrow? We know what he did year 2. Got to the Super Bowl after coming off that ACL injury in year 1. Here he is. They keep mentioning his name, but it just keeps seeming to be injuries that have plagued his career. Do you think he comes back better? Do you think he comes back stronger? And do you think he comes back at the level he was at when he got hurt?
Injuries is definitely plaguing Joe Burrow so far for, 2 of the 4 years he's played. But in those 2 years where he wasn't injured, I'm a big Joe Burrow fan. I have like no dog in a fight. Like I'm not a Bengals fan or anything like that. I'm just a Joe Burrow fan because he plays, I guess, quarterback in football the way it should be. Like when he gets out there, he wins, and it's like almost regardless of who. I won't say regardless of who out there, but from what he's shown, like the games where Jamar Chase would be out, he still finds a way to win. Like Joe Burrow, in my opinion, is a winner and is a quarterback that, as long as they healthy, he's also one of those quarterbacks that I feel, honestly, even though he's not as tenured as Aaron Rodgers, you could probably go a little light on a couple positions except for line, because I feel any quarterback that's been injured, you have to bolster your line to, like, keep them protected so they don't have to, like, especially with calf injury, so you're not trying to have to run for his life. And they have signing dudes like, who is it? Orlando Brown.
Orlando Brown.
Yeah, so they showing that they trying to strengthen that line. And Joe Burrow, he's a talent. I don't believe in the Burrowhead and all that. But
he's 1-1, so no, it was a thing, and then they got clapped. They should have shut up.
Yeah,
that was the mayor. That was the mayor of Cincinnati.
True story.
Bumping off at the gums. They went up there. They got clapped, and it is what it is. Sometimes keep your mouth shut.
But as long as he can stay healthy, and as long as he got Jamar Chase, I believe they're fighting for a playoff spot.
I listened to everything Jay Green said, but you know what stood out to me, Anson? He said he wins. He gets on the field and he wins, and I bring that right back to Aaron Rodgers. I mean, not Aaron Rodgers, but Jared Goff. You look at what Joe Burrow has done, and I know people in the chat like, oh, my God, here you go. Joe Burrow made it to a Super Bowl. Jared Goff made it to a Super Bowl. Went in there, with the exception of, I'm a -2 years from Jared Goff. I give him a pass year 1 dealing with Jeff Fisher, and I give him a pass year 1 dealing with the Detroit Lions. We didn't have anything going. All he does is do what? Win.
But Braylon, wins aren't quarterback stats. But that's what I hear.
Wins are what I'm paying.
Thank you.
Wins is what I'm paying.
Thank you.
I'm not paying it does, unless this is the NBA where the regular season apparently matters. I'm paying people that get to the finish line in the playoffs.
The people who get on our chat and people like Easy that want to hide behind wins aren't quarterback stats.
Right.
It's the only stat.
Yeah.
I don't care if I have a quarterback that throws for -50 yards if I win 16 games a year. I don't care about stats except for the W for my quarterback. Tom Brady, intangibles. Could the guy run fast?
Yeah. Hey, didn't need to.
Didn't need to. Did he have a rocket arm?
He had a quick assessment of what was going on the field.
Okay, look at that. Did he put up tons of stats in Super Bowl games?
Yes.
Some yes, some no. He won a couple with like 180 yards passing.
True. And lost one with 500 yards passing.
But stats aren't good. Wins aren't quarter. No, that's the only stat quarterbacks should be evaluated.
You asked that 2008 Lions team what matters is W's because they didn't get any.
And let's stop attaching system quarterback to a guy that went from one system and won to another system and won. Can anybody name another system quarterback that did that? Maybe Trent Dilfer?
Joe Montana.
Brady, Joe Montana.
Joe Montana.
Those are the guys that have went from one franchise successfully to another and had some success.
Select company right there.
Then can I say something about
didn't
that?
know the 2 Super Bowls, though. And then even Peyton Manning, you look at it, different Super Bowls, but surrounding with talent is Peyton Manning. And in the Super Bowl that he actually finally won.
We're talking about right now, right?
Exactly. They're the best of the best.
I know, exactly.
Peyton Manning
it's no scrubs on this
conversation we never had in our lifetimes as Lion fans. Period.
No scrubs at all. And then we get into week 1, the Fox broadcast, the very first time that Tom Brady, who we just talked about, will be calling the game. He makes the debut against the Cowboys and the Browns. And last night it was funny. He actually cracked the joke on Dak Prescott saying maybe he will finally get the job done. This is an interesting one, Stick. I want to bring this one to you. Dallas Cowboys, Dak Prescott, quarterback that he cannot get it done. We talked about a second ago. He has what, 1 playoff win or 2 playoff wins in his career, and he's been to the playoffs almost every season. And then got Deshaun Watson over there with the Cleveland Browns, who when he was in there last year, didn't seem like he was himself, didn't seem like he was the same guy from Houston. And also, he had a couple controversial things in terms of games maybe he could have played in and he didn't play in. This is an interesting game.
Let's just say Jared Goff is the anti-Deshaun Watson, right? They paid that man a ton of money, and he has provided nothing to that franchise.
Not to mention, 3 first-rounders?
Not 3 first-rounders. I mean, DTR, he didn't look great in that offense last year, but that's their future moving forward. But Joe Flacco came in, too, and showed you that it's not about the quarterback that when they get Chubb back healthy and they have that defense, they're going to be a problem no matter where they go. And Dallas is what Dallas is. They're paper champs. They've always been paper champs. They're holding on to something from 40 years ago that Joel had never even heard of, that the Cowboys were winning Super Bowls.
Emmitt Smith? What?
Yeah, he heard of Emmitt Smith, but he ain't never seen the Cowboys good in his entire life. His entire life.
But
he's told they're America's team. So, yeah, I mean, I hate rooting for anything Ohio, but I hate the Cowboys even more.
Tom Brady cracked a joke on that and said he can't believe it's America's team when we wear the red, white, and blue, talking about his Patriots. But out of those 3 games, now you got 3 interesting games. You got some heavy hitters, and then you got some great storylines. You have Browns, Cowboys. You got 49ers, Jets. And then you have Dolphins and Bengals. That is the Sunday night game. Is it Tuesday night football?
Bengals, Chiefs, and then Bills, Dolphins.
See.
Thursday night with the Bills, Dolphins, and then Sunday night's Bengals, Chiefs.
That's the one that I didn't talk about. Go ahead and talk about the Bills, Thursday night football against the Dolphins. Another one.
Ooh.
2.
Where's that at?
It looks like it's in Miami.
In Miami?
It's in Miami.
In Miami and in Cincinnati, the other game.
Here's the interesting thing about that game with the Dolphins and the Bills. Those are 2 quarterbacks that are up in there. Do you believe in them? Don't you believe in them? Is it the system? Is it the quarterback? Tua Tagovailoa is one of the quarterbacks in that game. Hasn't made the Pro Bowl yet. Has Pro Bowl numbers to a certain extent. Has wins when he's playing. There's another guy that wins when he's playing, but
in nice weather.
This is true.
You put Tua anywhere below 50 degrees, he ain't winning.
All right, don't get the anti-golf people. They'll start talking about cold weather games with golf. You better watch out over there.
Golf's been to a Super Bowl. Where's Tua been?
This is true. He's been chilling in Miami.
Exactly.
What are your thoughts on Tua, Mike
McDaniels,
in terms of the extension? Should it get done? Is he the next one up contract-wise?
I don't know how you let that guy go.
Yeah.
It's one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the NFL. He can get it down the field. He can move and make plays. But he's really well liked in Miami and in the locker room. He's just a charismatic, great young quarterback. That's a guy that you just do not allow to leave your city and your team at all. Out of all these games, though, I want to rewind just a little bit back to what you were talking about with Tom Brady. I like all these games. I'd love to see Burrow and
Kevin Burkhardt.
Pat.
That's going to be great.
I'd love to see the Buffalo's beginning of the crumble against Miami, but diplomatic immunity, I'm going to change it to GOAT immunity.
Okay.
And if you like Tony Romo and some of these other personalities, you just wait. What Tom Brady, fresh off of the Tom Brady rolls, is going to drop in these games.
He better dial it back.
He's got GOAT championship immunity. Bill Russell could go out there and say anything he wanted. And we got the same in Tom Brady.
He's definitely invincible. 7 rings. He is the GOAT, whether you like it or not. He's the GOAT. This is the era we live in. Now, the era that I kind of grew up in, it didn't matter about who had the most rings. It was who was the best player. It's no longer the era we live in. And 7 rings do speak for themselves. All right, I know another thing that both of you guys like, and it is the NBA. It was a game last night, and there's some games going on today. Let's jump into the NBA. Let's take a quick break. My man, he's Spivak. Let's get a word from Swiss.
That's right, my friends. Right now, more than ever, it's critical for you to have your insurance reviewed, and Swiss Insurance will make sure that your carrier is not slipping in extra fees. Call Market Swiss Insurance today, 313-530-1698, or visit SwissINS.com. We'll be right back.
Thank you to the Detroit Lions and Sheila Ham for the best season in Lions history. Now it's time to let Brad Holmes cook. Woodward Sports.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles, and with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit Sports.
What's up, everybody? Neil Rule, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, home of the Planet Fitness Studios. Let me tell you a little personal story about myself with Planet Fitness. Planet Fitness helped me change my life, and it can do the same for you. The best gym in the gym game. The clean facilities, tons of cardio equipment, tons of weights as well. And look, Through all the price increases, inflation, all that, hasn't happened at Planet Fitness. Still $1 down, $10 per month, $24.99 a month for the Black Card as well. It's Planet Fitness, everybody, where your fitness is essential.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
Come to any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
All right, everybody, head to shop.woodwardsports.com right now and get yourself some of the latest hoodies, tees, and the hats that are guaranteed to turn heads, including that $775,000 NFL Detroit Draft Day t-shirt and the new golf quarter pullover. All available right now at shop.woodwardsports.com. Back to Ermanni and Edwards with Matt.
Welcome back to Ermanni Edwards with Maz. You know the story. My man Anson Willis filling in, and my man Joe Green in the Maz chair. Also, before I forget, happy birthday to my cousin Jacarte. Happy birthday. Jacarte is now turning 39. Dang, what happened to the years, bro? I'm 41, he's 39, but happy birthday, Jacarte. We were talking about the NBA. Nothing really to talk about with the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Boston Celtics. The Celtics win the game. They go up 3-1. Donovan Mitchell, just not enough for the Celtics. Jason Tatum showed out. Celtics, they're doing what they're supposed to do. No real storylines here. The bigger storyline is the second game of the night, which was the OKC Thunder nipping the Dallas Mavericks to the tune of 100-96. Neither Luka Doncic nor Kyrie Irving showed up in that game. We thought we got it right. We thought the usage rate was changing for Luka Doncic. We thought that Jason Kidd had figured out how to use him in this against OKC. Didn't seem to be the truth last night.
Yeah, I'm going to switch and pivot. I think that OKC is going to get by them at this point.
All right.
As experienced as Kyrie is and as skilled as Luka is, this is the NBA entertainment, and there is no more entertaining team in the NBA right now than
That's a
the
great
Thunder.
point. The NBA, at the end of the day, sports, regardless of how we look at it, sports is entertainment.
Yeah, well, and remember, in the last 15 years, all of these leagues have reclassified as entertainment companies.
You know what they learned from? The WWE, but
That's
I digress.
Right. No, they're exactly in the same place as them. But OKC, being able to win this game was absolutely massive. I think the NBA, again, I'm a conspiracy theorist when it comes to my beloved NBA, but the NBA, it seemed like they left that game up for whoever was going to win it.
Okay.
And because
so it was called down the middle then.
That's right. And if OKC doesn't win that, they're not ready. They won it on the road. They're in a position now where they've got home court advantage back, and I see them winning in 7. I got to be honest with you. There's not a whole lot for the NBA to like about the Dallas Mavericks. Nobody really likes Kyrie Irving except for you and I.
Nobody really likes Luka Doncic, realistically.
That's the truth, too. Because as much as you can fall in love with this game, you watch him just not even play during defense. Temper tantrums, getting people kicked out of games for saying nothing. He's becoming slightly unlikable. Nobody really wants to push Kyrie Irving into the conference finals. OKC, man, this is the team of the future. This is the team that every single team in the NBA is going to be dealing with for the rest of this decade, period.
One thing I do want to say, look, Luka did have a triple-double last night to the tune of 18, 10, and 12. So let me not disrespect that. A triple-double in the NBA, it's a triple-double in the NBA, but I think you know where I was going. Jay, I come to you. You look at Dallas, and it just seems like with Luka, whether it's Luka and Jalen Brunson, whether it's Luka and Kyrie, it's just so inconsistent as a team and so inconsistent as as an all-star. When you look at a young team going against a veteran team, and we're going to call the Mavericks the veteran team, they got a guy that won a championship and a guy that's been there a couple of times. Are you really scared as a young team if the team that you're going against is supposed to be the experienced team or the veteran team is inconsistent?
Not really. More so because one, I said a couple years ago when the thing with Jalen Brunson and Luka was going on, I said Luka's like co-host, like co-star, can never be another guard because he's too dominant of a guard for him to find space to like work in another guard. Like if you notice the nights where Kyrie would go off, Luka probably had a calm night. Luka go off, Kyrie has a calm night. It's like, it's not even to take nothing away from either or. It's just the way they play the game. It's just hard for them to insert somebody else. So in that, to get back to your original point, the Thunder are just looking at that like, I'm not really too worried with this team. And Mike Conley said that about his own team and the Timberwolves. Like, young teams, it's like an ignorance that you have that gives you like a confidence and a swagger about yourself when you just like, when you're not knowing how big the moment is.
They don't even know any better.
Yeah, so they don't know like the magnitude of the situation they in. They just going out there and hooping. Like Jalen Williams put it in a perfect perspective the other day. They asked him like, why are you always smiling? Why do you always look happy? He said, I'm 23 and I get paid millions of dollars to go dribble a basketball. So I feel that's how they entering this whole series. Like they like, we young, we getting paid millions to go hoop. Let's go hoop. And when you hooping with like no constraints on you, that's when it seems like it's easier to hit shots. It's easier to get in your rhythm and hit moves. So I feel that's what we're seeing right now with them.
Series tied at 2. Who are you taking at this moment to win this series? Obviously, they still got some games to go, but who would you take to win it in this moment?
Honestly, I still feel Luka and Kyrie are going to have enough to pull the rabbit out the hat for 2 games out of the next 3.
Okay.
So I feel, and the way P.J. Washington been playing, we owe P.J. Washington a huge apology because after he dropped 29, it was uttered that he would not ever get close to a game like that. He had 27 the next game and then 21 this game.
Yeah.
So P.J. Washington, I feel he's like one of the best role players left in this playoffs. He is the best role player left in the playoffs. Because P.J. Washington, I was saying when he got traded to the Mavericks, I was like, that's a player that every team competing for a championship wants because he's going to check a nice perimeter guard or play good perimeter defense. He can hit the 3 for you, and he can even get a little dirty for you, rebound, stuff like that you may need. And he's not going to need you to – he doesn't need force-fed baskets. He doesn't need spoon-fed baskets. So I still feel the Mavericks pull this out in 7.
Speaking of tied at 2-2, the game tonight features, this is the best playoff game. This is the best playoff series of the playoffs right now. We know who it is. It's Anthony Edwards and the Minnesota Timberwolves going against the Joker, Denver Nuggets. But the problem is now it's no longer 2-0, and they're no longer in Minnesota. Game 5 is in Denver tonight. It's going to be interesting. Anson, what do the Timberwolves need to do to win this game? Because right now it looks like they're about to get backwards swept.
Great question. And you know, we left here, we did a show together on Thursday. They were down 2-0.
I was all in for the sweep.
Yep. And I called Denver in 7 still.
Shout out to Ryan Ermanni. Ryan Ermanni said that after the 2 games in Minnesota that it would be tied 2-2. Got to give him credit for that.
Yeah, well, they had to tie 2-2
Yeah.
In order to have a chance in this series. You know, when we face a defense as sticky as Minnesota's, there's an adjustment period. And then when you face a kid who's as good as Anthony Edwards, I mean,
like
the
a
kid's
grown
playing,
man.
It's like he's playing downhill while everybody else is climbing it.
Am I the only person, not to cut you off, am I the only person waiting for the shoe to drop in this series? Am I the only person waiting for, because at this point I know it's true now, waiting for Anthony Edwards to get clamped or them to figure it out for a night? Win or lose, it doesn't happen.
No. Well, Jordan never got clamped.
Ooh, say it again.
I mean,
there he is.
Joe D got to hang out close, you know. But for the most part, this is a kid that's unclampable.
Yeah.
His mid-range game is immaculate. His driving to the hoop ability and finishing is top tier.
Starting to really respect the 3-ball too.
Yeah, and he can obviously play on the outside as well. But what I've seen out of this kid is his tenacity and intensity and passion for playing defense. I mean, they were down 7 points with like 20 seconds left, and he comes down and makes a block on the other end after he just got a layup. They don't have, like, Rudy Gobert puts a lot of points up, but he's not a scorer.
I don't hate anybody. I hate him as a basketball player.
I'm not a big fan
Is that fun
either.
to say? I hate him as a basketball player. I don't hate him as a person. He's a great person. hate him as a basketball player.
I will always remember him for his COVID. The COVID touch.
And then the whole team got COVID. Donovan Mitchell. Quick pivot. Donovan Mitchell, if you've ever noticed when they play against each other, Donovan still hates him.
Yeah.
Like Donovan Mitchell doesn't like him for real, for real.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Ken.
Donovan wanted out on top of it being a decent move from Minnesota. But Minnesota doesn't truly have that number 2. Gobert scores a lot, but he is not a scorer.
Rebounds a lot.
Yeah, if you got a double team on Anthony, who are you going to give it to? You can go into the post a little bit. As good as they are defensively, I don't think that they get out of this series. I think that Denver not only adjusted, but just really showed them who they are. I think Minnesota is probably a little worried right now. We got to go back there. They just handed it to us 2 times on our own court. I think that next year you're going to see Minnesota and you're going to see OKC playing in the Western Conference Finals. Denver's probably ready to fall apart after they win their second championship this year. That's happening. That's happening, guys.
Yeah, 100%. At the end of the day, you keep getting to the finals. You keep winning. Those games are long. Those seasons are long. The months, the grueling hours you put in. That's why you see a lot of people fall off. Karl Anthony Towns is the guy that modern, like he patterned himself after his UK alum and Anthony Davis. We know that, but I think he forgot the part that Anthony Davis does play defense. That Anthony Davis does play when he wants to, but he can turn it on. Like Karl Anthony Towns has to be the key for the Wolves. Am I right?
That's exactly what I was going to say when you brought up Gobert. I was going to say it's more so on Karl Anthony Towns because Karl Anthony Towns started the game Sunday, 1 for 10, and I think he finished with like 13 points. But it wasn't even a good 13. It was like a 13 that really added nothing to the game.
Pointless 13.
Yeah, no, and like you said, his defense. If he can, Karl Anthony Towns has to start playing defense without fouling. He gets like so many stupid fouls. That's like the only way I can say it is just he gets stupid fouls at points in the game that puts a player of his magnitude in foul trouble unnecessarily. Like it was one play, Jokic is bringing it up, and at half court he just decides to like chest check him and gets like a quick foul. It's like doing stuff like that shows me mentally that Karl Anthony Towns is like, I guess, upset out there or like something is bothering him mentally.
He's not ready for this stage.
No, he's not ready for the stage. And he just got to pick it up scoring-wise more so because Anthony, like you brought up, if they double-team Ant, Karl Anthony Towns should be right there ready to get a bucket.
Yes.
But he's been nowhere to be found. If he's not in foul trouble, he's missing the shot.
One of the funniest things about that game was, did you see when Joker set up Rudy Gobert's dumb self? I almost cursed. When he played him and then
with the chair.
My God. Like, when you see
Rick
stuff
Mahorn?
like when you see things like that, I was so confused by the Utah Jazz. Like I didn't know what the Timberwolves were thinking, and I still don't think it's worked out for them. They are where they are right now, but it ain't because of Rudy Gobert. What are you about to say, Anson?
When you look at Cat and you look at Gobert, these are both guys that are the number 3 option on a championship team. And if you have 2 of those guys, a 3rd and 4th option, that's fantastic. But to your point, Jay Green, as we call you, I love that.
Jay Green.
Until there's a second guy that you can absolutely, with full faith, give the rock in the last 5 minutes when Anthony's in foul trouble or getting shut down in a double team, they just don't have that. And I love your point about his mental state. He just seems overwhelmed by the moment here. So if you can, and he knows he's the number 2 option on that team. I mean, you put those 2 big men together, you might have the greatest big man of all time, but they're separate. One's a defender, one's an offensive guy. And when you start getting in foul trouble and your mind isn't right, you overpress. Your offensive game falls apart. You lose your confidence. It's much easier to be a great defender when things are going bad because that's all you got to do. You don't have to hit shots. Until they get that true 2 option, Minnesota's number 2 or 3 in the West.
Yeah, and I don't want to be one of those shows that we talk so much about a team that's losing right now. The Denver Nuggets did win 2 games. Let's talk a little bit about them. The reason why I believe the catalyst is, just like Karl Anthony could be the catalyst for the Wolves, well, Aaron Gordon right now is how they are getting it done. Here's how they won 2-0. Talk about the depth, at least in the starters of that squad, Jay Green.
I would say with Denver's ability to have everybody contribute, and I would say more so all credit to Aaron Gordon, but I feel that comes from Jokic. The ability of Jokic.
35 points he had last game, make the 13th 35 points.
Started 10 for 10.
Yeah, I think he had 35, 7, and 7.
Yeah, this is the third time. It's the 13th time he's done that in his playoff career.
Yeah, no. Jokic ability to get his, that's the point I was going to make. Also, what the Timberwolves need to improve on, Anthony Edwards, I would like to see him in more pick and roll situations because granted, he can get his 44, but I would like to see him be able to get that 44, but also like maybe if you got to sacrifice the 14 points on top to get you 44 and a half, 30, and get you maybe a couple more assists to include your teammates a little bit more. But the ability for Denver and Jokic to have the gravity he has and like Timberwolves bringing all these double teams and his ability to facilitate and hit the open man every time, it keeps his team in rhythm while he's able to also get his. So he's staying in his rhythm, the role players staying in their rhythm. So when he does get double teamed, they haven't been they last shot wasn't second quarter, and now we in the fourth quarter with 3 minutes left, and they trying to, you like, oh my God, how didn't you hit this open shot? It's like, no, they've been taking shots throughout the whole game, so they're in a rhythm. I feel that's why everybody is able to contribute so far down on that roster.
Now, Braylon, last week when the MVP was handed down and you and I differed, you thought it should have been SGA.
I did.
I thought it should have been Jokic. At the time, they were down 2-0.
Yeah.
And what we watched over the weekend with these 2 wins, what I saw was how important Jokic is to that team and why he won MVP. Have you changed your thoughts at all since the last 2 games?
No.
No?
I still think it's SGA. Jokic, if you want to go that route, he's the best player in the NBA. And Anthony Edwards is playing the best, but until someone dethrones Jokic, he's the best player in the NBA right now. He won another MVP, deservingly so, whether I disagree or not. It was deserving that he was there. It was deserving that it was that close, where it should have been close. But I still think SGA should have won this year. That's all.
All right.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. I love the conversation.
Spartans and Wolverines don't always agree, my friend.
This is true. Man, Wolverines aren't always right. We are not always right.
We know that. We know that.
You know what?
I'm trying to be humble.
I'm agreeing with you. We were just saying we don't always have to agree, but I'm agreeing.
You know what? I'm
debate.
let it happen.
Braylon, I'm with you on this.
I'm gonna take the high road.
That was BS.
I'm gonna take the high road.
He was trying to be a good guy. You just showed that little brother energy.
It's okay. I was Jonathan Smith, a lot of success this year. We know how John Smith's work out in East Lansing.
I wish Shoelaces a whole lot of luck in his new career, wherever that is as well.
And now that's a shot at somebody that got a DUI. See, that's the Michigan State class. That's the Michigan State class that you don't have.
Should I have selected the other assistant coach that's no longer with you that just got hired this offseason?
He's not a Michigan guy. He coached Michigan.
He was on the other line with Mel Tucker.
I knew you was about to say that. I knew you was about to say that.
Tuck going.
At the end of the day, it is what it is. It's why you call a rivalry a rivalry.
Indeed, my friend.
Let's switch and get to this funny story I thought. Bears coach roasts Justin Fields. I think you'll like this too, Stick. And here's the quote I read and we'll react to it. Chicago Bears coach on Justin Fields. When you watch him, watch his eyes. He tries to see the whole thing and doesn't see anything. I can make a joke out of that, but I won't. His eyes are all over the place, and it's just really hard to watch. It's just bad football.
Was that Eberflus? Or
this is Eberflus. Or
they just said coach. They didn't specify.
Okay, let's just say the coach on the squad. Here you go. QB room 20. Oh, and this is another comment that came out. The QB room in 2021 was toxic as hell per Ty Doon. Foles attempted to teach Fields, but the rookie was disengaged and his head was down. At the point Foles was done trying to play mentor and rookie, they hated each other. Obviously, this is another reason why he's gone. But if this is Eberflus, because it says coach, so let's just assume it's Eberflus for the sake of the conversation. Why need to poke a guy that's no longer there? Like if this is, even if it's true, as a head coach, like once a guy leaves your team, aren't you done with him?
Not if you're in Chicago. When you consider the absolute futility that they've had at the quarterback position.
So they're trying to burn somebody else?
Well, I think they're trying to cover their butts for moving him for a 6th-round draft pick. There's a lot of people in Chicago right now that I'm sure aren't sold on Caleb Williams the way that I'm not. And they look, okay, well, we could have traded this pick and doubled down, gotten more capital, and kept this kid Justin Fields here. And I was one of those people. My opinion just got rocked a little bit reading these 2 tweets. Because if that's true, you got a guy that doesn't want to be taught, that's not getting along with others, that obviously is showing a major deficiency while he's on the field. Now, I'm going to say this. Mike Tomlin don't play that.
No.
No,
he doesn't.
Not at all. So we
Well,
might
Mike
see a
Tomlin
different
also
Justin.
earned that respect.
Say it again?
Mike Tomlin also has that respect because he's done it. Eberflus can't come in like you can't be Matt Patricia and demand Bill Belichick
100%.
treatment. And that may be what's going on with Matt Eberflus. But to me, what's more important about this is a division rival doing the exact opposite once again of the culture that's being built in Detroit. What's Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell doing? They're taking care of their guys. What are these guys doing? Trash talking their guys as they leave. Braylon, you know what that sends to free agents. You know the message that sends to other people that want to go to that team. Like, it's the same thing as if a player left and started trashing coaches. It's like, all right, that may not be a coachable player. These are not good player coaches that are doing this. You got to be above it if you're in that management level. You can't go low like that. You can't.
I agree with Sick on that. I wasn't a fan of Eberflus, and look, I understand the roster's gotten better, and I know what they did in the back half of the year defensively. Still not a fan of Eberflus, and I still don't believe in him till I see otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to see. We're going to see. I think that Fields might be in a position where, with Tomlin's tutelage, he could turn into the quarterback that a lot of people thought they had. But to Stick's point, it's a great one. I mean, we've lost some guys here. We've traded some guys here. We've never heard one bad comment or quote or tweet from our regime for a past player. And that's huge. That's culture. And that's inviting if you're a free
And
agent.
Holmes has shipped guys out of here. He shipped T.J. Hawkinson out of here. It wasn't like, the reason I did that is because the guy can't play ball. That's right. He shipped Stafford out of here and didn't go back on trashing him. So Holmes, it's just another good culture feel that they're operating that way. We're operating this way.
Keeping it in-house.
These are the guys I want to play for.
No doubt.
Yeah, the only person that had something
doubt.
to say was Jamal Williams, and we saw how the season worked out for him in New Orleans.
That's right.
But the Jamal Williams situation, he got greedy. Like, that was the thing. They offered him. He said he wanted more. He went and tested the market. Yeah. And at the end of the day, that was a bad decision.
Barry Sanders' record.
Pay me. Right. Exactly. He had that mentality, and Brad Holmes stood on business, as the kids say. And he's like, you know what? I can go get David Montgomery for $6 million. I'm not paying you $8 million.
No,
Sorry.
Yeah.
Take your show all the way to the Saints and deliver 0 touchdowns.
Rather have money
and
anyway.
I love Swaggy. I love that personality.
Sure.
And it definitely worked out for both teams. The Lions won that deal. One more story, and we're going to call it a day, and it is an interesting one. 54 seconds on Barstool from Kirk Cousins on what happened and how he feels about the situation in Atlanta.
Talk about draft night, Kirk Cousins, the Atlanta Falcons picking Michael Penix.
Yeah, I think you're reminded again that there are things you control, and there's a lot of things you don't control. And so let's deal in reality, and recognize that fact, and then be a steward, not an owner. So I just believe that I got to steward what comes my way and control what I can control, which is what a steward does. But a steward doesn't worry about that which they can't control.
Yeah.
An owner does. My point is this isn't like a foreign concept. There's an awareness that this is the NFL. Anything can happen. Do kind of what I've always done as a player and let the chips fall where they may.
So it's fair to say, Kirk Cousins, the Falcons, there's no beef involved.
No, and I don't think there can be. I don't think it's helpful. Like, we're trying to win a Super Bowl, and it's hard enough. Like, you know what I mean? It's hard enough. So let's all be on the same page, and let's try to go win a Super Bowl.
It's funny, too, because you just took a shot at Michigan. I let it slide, and here's a chance for me to take a shot, and I won't. Kirk Cousins is probably the Michigan State person I like the most that I don't know. Never had a chance to meet Kirk Cousins. He's a guy that I could get behind, Paul. Like, he just understands the system. Kirk Cousins could have said a lot of things in this interview as Barstools, and you know what happens in these interviews? Guys get relaxed. Guys get comfortable. Guys think, oh, well, this isn't a real media situation. No, yeah, it is. Everything you says comes out. But he talked about being a steward and not an owner. I love that. That means he's going to come out and fight for his position. And I said I don't think he ever sees another down with the Atlanta Falcons or ever sees it down with the Atlanta Falcons, much like Matt Flynn, Russell Wilson. Got a little bit of goosebumps watching them talk about that. Also, the music did help. What do you think about Kirk Cousins in this situation? Will he start as the starter game one?
There's very few Spartans that have represented our school as well as he has as a pro. And my hat's off to him.
Should be proud.
I did love that interview. I love the insight. I just wish that insight would have been there on draft night so he could have held back on his tweet. Because that tweet talking about him finding out during the draft that they were taking a quarterback ignited the NFL as well as the Atlanta fan base and their conspiracy over what might happen and whether he's happy or not.
But
glad he shut the door on that and he let it be known, but he should have held that back that night.
I was just gonna say, I mean, it's easy to have the right attitude when $100 million guaranteed just hit that bank account.
And that's what my thoughts always were.
True that.
That's what my thoughts always were.
This kid coming in from college to take
off an Achilles?
Yeah, all right.
I'll take my $100 million, may not play, but then I'll go to another team. Somebody will need a quarterback at some point if it doesn't work out with them. But with that, I like that we have the ability now as current players, former players too, but current players, to get the story out there. Because if you sit on the story and you don't say anything and no one knows what happened, now people think this, that, and the third. I wasn't told. No one told me. This is why I left Minnesota, but it is what it is. He has the right to get a story out there, so I don't mind that part about it.
He does. He does. Yeah. But as the leader and the highest paid guy in a brand new town, It wasn't a great look. It opened the door for
But was it the truth?
Well, it certainly was. It certainly was. But hey, hats off to the guy for getting up on a podcast and nationally telling people there is no issue. It was well put, and it falls right in with the high class that man is. Go Green.
Well, you know what has high class, Mays all the way, baby, is Woodward Sports, and that's why we bring you the best possible quality content that we can bring you every day. We appreciate you for tuning in to Ermanni Edwards with Maz. Thanks to my man Rod Allen for joining the show, and thanks to Anson Wells, as always, as well as Jay Green Stick. Hell of a job by you. Appreciate you in the pinch, in the clutch. My right-hand man, Pete, always great show. Tomorrow we will be back. We're going to run this thing back. Yo, shout out. See you later.
It was great. Which one?